Check the sound skin. New York, we know where we at. We on the East Coast, but we from the West Coast. But it's all love, dog. Tru Heel Heat. Yee.
Hey, you fucked it all up.
This is the knockout artist, Chris Hero. And if you're looking for some Tru Heel Heat, you better listen to them boys.
What's up, Tru Heel Heat? Tru Heel Heat.
What's up?
Tru Heel Heat. All hands is on me.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with Tru Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to mourn the loss of Aubrey Drake Graham, All Elite Wrestling, and their poor TV ratings, record low. So we will be it's not celebrating. Sorry, my WWEism came out a little bit. But it was a great week in WWE. They had big debuts with the Wyatt Sick6, Joe Hendry from TNA having record numbers on social media. Jacob Fatu joins the Bloodline, and is he instantly the best member of the group already after day one? There is a lot to discuss. AEW record low ratings, and who's going to come to the rescue? Here comes the money. Here we go. Money talks. Here comes the money. Shane McMahon's interested in coming to All Elite Wrestling. What? We got a lot to discuss. This is the Tru Heel Heat Flagship podcast. Hit the intro. Hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the Tru Heel Heat, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for Tru Heel Heat 282, singing, sinking, Samoans, and sickos, discussing the latest wrestling news, including WWE debuts of the Wyatt Sick6 on Raw, TNA's Joe Hendry on NXT, and Jacob Fatu joining the Bloodline on SmackDown. Shane McMahon interested in appearing on All Elite Wrestling TV. Recap of this week in wrestling with WWE Clash at the Castle, one of the better episodes of Raw this year, the very best episode of SmackDown in God knows how long that didn't include The Rock insulting people. NXT, AEW Dynamite, Collision's 1 year anniversary, and last night's Rampage, NJPW Soul Day 1, Noah Grand Chip, and TNA Impact. Plus, we will give you our matches and best and worst of the week. plus much, much more. I am joined here by my esteemed colleague. He is the true draw himself. Josh, how are you doing?
Doing good. When you were talking about the people that died, you forgot to mention the people that died on Monday Night Raw.
No, I didn't, because they're medically cleared from death.
That's some bullshit. There was like one guy. That was cleared. We all know he was dead, and then he got wished back with the Dragon Balls.
No. He's medically cleared. You know, we had people thinking that Gunther was back there. Nope, that wasn't Gunther. People thought it was Braun Strowman back there. Nope, it wasn't Braun Strowman. We had people think that Carmelo Hayes back there. No, that's just a nigga with braids. And like, so no one. No one was murdered on Monday.
I mean, if it wasn't them, that means they could have been murdered. Like, who gives a fuck about extras, right?
Exactly. But yes, we got a lot to discuss. What a week in professional wrestling, whether it be all those WWE major debuts we talked about, and we're going to answer the question. I'm going to ask Josh. Miss Krssi Love will be joining us as well. Who had the better debut, the better WWE debut this week with those three major debuts? We'll talk about Joe Hendry with his NXT debut getting big numbers. We're going to talk about last night's SmackDown, which I thought was one of the better episodes, and the record low ratings for AEW Dynamite, despite it being a great show, like me and Jimmy McIntyre talked about on Thursday on AE Ramble. You talked about it, watching it live on Wednesday. But we appreciate y'all if you're joining us live. We appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. You just drop the thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. We always see a surge in our subscriptions over the weekend with the flagship podcast and everything else we do here. So we want to see if we can get to 16,000 this weekend. We're right on the cups. We're at 15.8. So maybe we can hit 16,000 this weekend, and you can help us out by telling a friend to tell a friend who is not already subscribed to subscribe to the most consistent, the most fun YouTube channel out there, the Tru Heel Heat Wrestling YouTube channel here. But if you're watching us on Facebook, you could drop a thumbs up, a heart emoji, an angry emoji, a laughing emoji. However, this week in professional wrestling made you feel, you can let us know with those emotes. If you're watching us on Twitter, drop the heart, retweet the video. It helps other people like yourself, other wrestling fans or non-wrestling fans who just want their recap of the week. You can retweet it and share it with them. But most of all, if you're watching on any of those platforms, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys here in the live chat. Highlight your comments. You kind of dictate where the conversation goes a lot of the weeks here on the flagship. So we appreciate that. But most of all, if you're watching us on YouTube, the most important thing you could do to really help us out and support the channel, to keep the channel and this train moving, send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It will make sure your comment is highlighted on screen. If you have a thought, a hot take, however you feel about this week in wrestling, you can do that with a super chat donation. But we always appreciate that. We always appreciate the support. So we start off every Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast with our Tru Heel Trinity, shouting out those across social media and here on the channel who are supporting us. Our top 3 conversation starters over on our Facebook group page. You got Patrick Ugle, number 2, Joe Bellini, and number 1, Stewie John Palmer. We also got our Patreon backers we got a shout out here, like Wallaby, like ALW, like Negro Buck Nick Jackson, Alex McCarthy, Professor Chris, Austin K, Trey Jones, Robert, Steve, Ladarius, John, aka Russell Scopes, Dan, Kobe, Dolores, John Martin, DJ Eric, Marcus Ryan, James, Allen, and Santo. We appreciate you all for supporting us over at patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. And we got already in the chat with us today, Eric Isaac, who says, good morning, Tru Heel Heat fam. What a week for us all. The Wyatt Sick6, Hendry, and Kaz on NXT. He also says, Drew gets his revenge on Punk. The Samoan werewolf is finally here at last. A lot went down this week. How did you feel about everything that transpired from Clash at the Castle to last night's SmackDown in WWE this week, Josh, overall?
I mean, overall, it was a good week for them. it was a good debut for the Wyatt Six. The way they were introduced, it was good. Then you had Hendry. He got eliminated so fast. Despite the big pop. Yeah, that happened. And then Jacob Fatu finally showed up. He looks great shape. He's not fat, so it's happy to see that. You know, and when you mention like he might be the best member wrestling wise, I think he is. He's definitely the best member wrestling wise.
I think character-wise already. Character-wise, just him being this beast, this wild savage. Oh my God, it was electric, that debut.
Yeah, like if they would have done it, like say like if they would have had him like be in a solo spot, I wouldn't even be too mad. Like if they would have done it then, but because they've already kind of built it up and then Solo's already there, it is what it is. But yeah, I was like, yeah, he might be the best member.
Already. We also got Power Driver Finisher says, I believe in Shane O'Mac. We also got in the chat Bell joining us saying, hey, yo. We also got Chuck Berries who says, good morning, THH fam. One of the best weeks for Raw and SmackDown since WrestleMania season. Yeah, it's no longer WWE off season. They kind of rev things up on the road to Money in the Bank and SummerSlam, so they're seen ready to go with things. We also got in the chat here Brandon Brown who says Kayla Braxton leaving WWE next week. That was added to the agenda because that news happened just in the last hour that Fightful reported it after Kayla Braxton removed WWE from her social media handles that she is leaving the company next week. So what a run. It feels like an end of an era, in my opinion, with Kayla Braxton moving on. What did you think about that news?
A little surprised because she's very pro WWE, like on her social medias. So it was kind of very, very unexpected. So I wonder, makes me wonder, like, what, like, was it her decision or was it the company decision? Because I know they're gonna say mutual. Usually when they say mutual, it's never mutual. So it makes me wonder, like, what really happened.
Facts. We also got Brandon Brown who says, nice Batman t-shirt. Yes, my kids got it for Father's Day. I have to rock it. Represent. Thank you to Harlem and Sydney. Thank you to the Miss P3, as the chat affectionately calls her. We got Will Chisholm as a member for 10 months. Thank you so much, Will. Always one of our big supporters here on the channel. But of course, it's not just me and Josh this week. Don't worry, guys. The princess of all the Tru Heels is here. Our tribal queen, Miss Krssi Love. How are you doing?
Why do you always do that? Good morning. How y'all doing? At least I'm showing up. Roman don't even show up. So, hey, it is what it is.
Hey,
good morning. How you doing?
I'm the wise man for our tribal chief, Roman Reigns. He looked up in heaven like Roman is in heaven. Like Roman died. Heyman has been one of my favorite characters in all of wrestling since this whole bloodline, since WrestleMania, with him being scared of what the bloodline is capable of. He's been amazing.
He's been great. He's been one of I want to say one of the standouts from the whole thing in general. Like, he's just there. Like, he's not even being the counsel. Like, he's not even counseling anyone because they don't even listen to him. So it's like, what he's just like, he's like in Get Out, like just blink twice if you need help, like to get out. He's been asking people for help, but they're not seeing the warning signs.
When he said to Punk, he was like, yeah, Paul, you said you wanted a favor in exchange. He said, take me with you?
Right.
He started crying. He was like, take me with you. Oh my God.
I love it. I think it's great stuff. And again, you keep going to all of these other people that has been like a factor or had an issue with the bloodline. And now Paul is like, hey, my tribal chief is not here. I don't know who they are talking to or whatever, but they've gone rogue now. They're the bad kids. Like, I don't want to deal with them. That's not what I signed up for, but they're holding him hostage and they're making him do it anyway.
He's been dealing with it for 3 months. See, at this point, Paul Heyman is in an abusive relationship.
He is. He really is, though.
He is. Power Driver finisher says Jacob Fatu. Who? Where's the video package? Get the out of here with that. I mean, you don't need a video package if it's WWE.
Right, yeah.
If it's WWE, only if it's WWE.
No. I get his comment though. It's a rib. I get it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it too. Jimmy Meckeran's gonna be upset about that comment though. We got in the chat here, Will Chisholm with our first super chat donation. Thank you so much, Will. As always, one of our top supporters here on the channel, the GOAT. He says, TNA told NXT, if we can play out our storylines on NXT, we good. We don't mind if Joe Hendry gets eliminated in 1 minute. We good. Just as long as Kaz is the one doing it. Good.
Hey, what are you going to do? I mean, everyone was excited to see him there, so, you know.
That's like TNA. You said Paul Heyman's in an abusive relationship. TNA isn't a new relationship where the boyfriend wants to have sex with other people.
You know what?
We also got another super chat donation here from Will Chisholm. Thank you so much, Will. He says, I won't be surprised if Kayla popped up at ESPN. I wouldn't be surprised of that either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if she showed up in another promotion as well. I think Kayla Braxton
I think it's more promotion. Yeah.
On screen.
Yeah, I think ESPN would be more if she was
want to do sports. Yeah, she wanted to do
and that
type
spectrum of sports. Yeah, because like when Charlie Caruso left to ESPN, she had a sports background. Like before WWE, she was in the news station she was working at. She was covering sports. So I think if she was to go to ESPN, I think she would need some kind of sports background, which I'm not too familiar if she has one or not.
We shall see what's next for Kayla Braxton, but keep coming with those comments. Keep coming with those super chat donations in the chat as we get into what we missed from this week. And we got to start all the way back. We did our show last Saturday. We started early because we had WWE Clash at the Castle in Glasgow, Scotland. The show featured Damian Priest defeating Drew McIntyre in a very good main event to retain the World Heavyweight Championship after CM Punk screwed over McIntyre in his own damn home country of Scotland.
Piss poor.
A lot of boos from the crowd in Scotland, but you did also have a couple of Conan O'Briens in the front row who were celebrating with CM Punk as Drew McIntyre once again fails to win the heavyweight championship in the UK, and he was legitimately pissed afterwards. Well, character-wise, legitimately pissed for good reason. Meanwhile, his fellow Scots, Alba Fire and Ala Dawn, they got the job done for Scotland as they beat Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, as well as Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill to win the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Although they were alone as far as Scott 2 won gold in Scotland, as you had Bayley. She picked up the win over Piper Niven in a good match to retain the WWE Women's Championship. There you also had Sami Zayn. He defeated Chad Gable in a great bout to retain the Intercontinental Championship after some more Alpha Academy drama, as Otis chose to walk away with Maxine Dupree instead of helping his coach of the Academy. And Chad Gable gave us this great meme face. It's going to be one of my avatars. Very, very.
I'm about to say, please make that an avatar. I love that one. It can replace the face of Damian Priest.
Fair. That's fair. And finally, you had Cody Rhodes got to bleed in his I Quit matchup against AJ Styles, picking up the victory to retain the undisputed WWE Championship in what was an excellent opener to the Clash at the Castle card. Cody and AJ just have incredible chemistry with one another and delivered another instant classic at the PLE. And then post-match, it was the Bloodline's leader, the head of the table, evil Solo Sikoa, who came out to confront Cody, leading to the Bloodline's Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa to jump roads until Randy Orton and Kevin Owens came out to make the save, and the babyfaces stood tall. Krssi Love, me and Josh reviewed the show. So what was your overall thoughts on what went down last Saturday at Clash at the Castle?
Overall thoughts, surprising that the only one hometown native won, and that was for the tag belts. Very sloppy match, however. I mean, we had a lot of sloppiness happening that day. I don't know what was happening. Someone needs to be fired. Someone dropped the ball that day. I don't know who did or whatever. But someone sabotaged a lot of people that day, and I don't know what happened. But yeah, piss poor ending. I feel like for the Drew and Damon finish, that's out of all of the finishes, that's the one I came up with. We're gonna copy and paste and get reuse the same Punk scenario. Okay, great. But overall, I guess it was a good show. Cool.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the show overall. Like I said, I had my complaints about the finish. It was the finish that a lot of us predicted a month ago before we were able to come up with much better finishes than what WWE eventually gave us.
Correct.
But I thought the wrestling top to bottom was really good. And even the women's match, I thought it was going well until Jade Cargill slipped off the top rope, and then the match kind of
went downhill. Yeah. Yep.
Even that match was still good.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, lots of sloppiness, whatever. I actually thoroughly enjoyed. I think one of my favorite.
Not sloppiness. Blame the ring crew.
That's what I mean. That was I'm saying. They sabotaged the people. That's sloppiness. They sabotaged them. What? I'm not blaming the wrestlers. That wasn't the only person that fell from that damn rope either.
True. Yeah, Damien.
Three people, I think there was two other people. Poor Damien was freaking folded into his leg. I thought he was gonna die, to be honest. I was like, oh my god, did he hit his head? Like, what happened? But I really enjoyed the I Quit match, and for them to open up the show, I think thoroughly. Again, what's the name has lost 3 times so far, but hey, what are we gonna do? I mean, but AJ's been great at this hill, whatever. So it is what it is. Way to go with a resign and everything. Good job.
I just you got Jaleel in the chat who agrees with Jimmy, who's like, F Scotland, and he says Punk was justified. No, he wasn't. He already got his payback at WrestleMania. He doubled down. He doubled down on it. Drew didn't even get his lick back from WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That's why y'all are making sense by not acknowledging that Punk already got revenge.
He did. Yeah, he helped Drew lose. I mean, he was a factor in helping Drew lose his belt. So this whole thing, like you said, you've been saying this, months ago. But hey, who are we? Whatever. I mean, it is what it is. We see what happens later on and how we get the clap back. But the people that live in,
yeah. No, I'm saying it's a little weird, but people are saying that he was justified. But I'm like, but he was justified night 2 WrestleMania when he screwed Drew out of the title.
So, the people, and then the people that live in their country they're not loyal. These hoes ain't loyal because y'all was just cheering. Y'all was cheering for me, and as soon as CM Punk do something, oh my god, woo! Hoes is not loyal at all. Fuck y'all. That's why Drew do what he do.
These hoes ain't loyal. Like LeBron James at the Kendrick Lamar concert.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, they literally had someone on the radio. They was like, if that was your friend, would you talk to them again? Because it's no all bets is off. Like, you're not my friend no more. Like, you over there, you with the ops, son. Like you.
I mean, to be fair, Drake did lie to LeBron.
Fair.
He did. He did, and LeBron just listened to the what was it? Meet the Grams. He was like, LeBron, keep the family away. So he was like, all right, I'm gonna bring the family to Kendrick's concert.
To be honest, I think they're all at work too. I think they're like wrestlers. They're all working us regardless. They all plan this shit. So that's
no. Kendrick really hates Drake.
You think so?
Yeah, all that's out of work because honestly, if it was work, Drake wouldn't be dragged this bad.
Exactly. It would have ended. It would have
balanced.
ended after he put out his explaining himself song, the Heart Part 6. Like it would have been over after that. But literally, Kendrick did one of the greatest victory laps in hip hop history on Wednesday.
It makes me want to go to one of his concerts now. Didn't see that on my bucket list, but now it is. Word, like that crowd was on fire. Are you kidding me? Can you imagine that being high? What? Amazing.
I'm pretty sure out of what was it, 20 something thousand that were there, I want to say 15 of thousands of them were probably high on that Cali ooey. That Cali ooey.
As they should be.
Josh, any remaining thoughts of Clash at the Castle from last Saturday?
No, I mean it's about the same. Show was solid. It was just, you know, they had those moments like the ending of the main event. Even though I did predict Priest would retain, Funk would get involved. But it was just the execution of it that I was
how they did it, yes.
Yeah. But then also, like I mentioned before, like the fucking clip made it even worse. Like the whole like how he got the shirt, that made it even worse for me. That's where it kind of just like went like, all right, fuck this. This shit was garbage because of how that went. And then like you said about like the, you know, the ropes, you know, unfortunately things happen, but Jay got the worst of it.
Yeah, she really did.
She got dragged all week on social media.
And it shouldn't even be like that. It was through no fault of Jade why she got buried like that. But I blame a couple of different people. I blame all the marks that's been on Jade from her AEW run, and then that stupid shit Triple H said at the Fastlane press.
And
what did he say?
No, like
when he said, "Oh, you know, Jade has not been training, so that's why she's not here yet. You know, she didn't get the proper training before, so now we're gonna properly train her. So then when she comes, she'll be ready."
I know you fucking lying.
He did say that. He said that. So that's why the criticism, like, that's part of my criticism too to Jade. But my criticism has nothing to do with the rope spot because, and I said it, I was just like, my criticism has nothing. I don't even mention the rope spot because I'm like, it is what it is, right? People were fucking up on the ropes on that event. So I wasn't using that. My criticism was more of the fact that, and it's always been this, until I see something different from Jade, is more of what Triple H said. If your criticism was to AEW of, oh, they didn't, you know, there was no fault of her own that she didn't have the proper training, so we're going to train her differently. And then when you see her, it's been the same presentation. So it's like at that point, it's like, what did you work with her in the PC if she's doing the same stuff? Like that's where I'm at when it comes to Jade. And the only things I would say with her WWE run, I mean, I don't think it's been better than her AEW run. Because, you know, they have her paired up in a tag team with Bianca, which is understandable because she could learn from Bianca. So I get that aspect. It's more the fact what I've noticed with her is the communication in the ring, because we saw it in France where she got into it when it was her turn to work. There was the fucking communication was way off. I don't know what the fuck happened with that. And then after the rope spot, even after that, like she kind of just felt like her confidence kind of like dipped after the rope spot. You know, and it's
never really happened to her, so I think it really like touched her a little bit. Like, and then you're doing this in front of like all of these people, so I get it, but it's not her fault. It's like it's a mistake. Like they make mistakes. Lots of fuckers make mistakes. Clearly,
no, it's not definitely her fault. It's just,
not her fault. That's what I'm saying. Like
it's not her fault.
It's that the people in the crew did. Like they somebody fucked up and they need to be fined or fired. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you know, and it's none of her fault. It's just that because of what Triple H said, the criticism of Jade is gonna be higher because of that. Because
that's some bullshit.
You legit you legit told us you legit took a shot at AEW about not training her, and then we've kind of just been seeing the same stuff for her. And so again, it's unfortunate, and I think that Jade is at a point that honestly, this might be as good as you get from her. You know, and that's not a shot at her. It's just that we've seen it a lot with wrestlers. We've seen people in wrestling that have gotten better, and then there's people who've been the same. You know, and to me, that's fine. Like, it's just reality of the situation. I hope that's not the case, but
Right.
I don't know, man. I really do hope things turn around for her, because again, I think she has the look, she has, the physique.
Yeah.
So I really hope that shit turns around for her.
Same.
We got in the chat, Frantic World, who says Kendrick hates Drake. He played Not Like Us 5 times and had 2 major games dancing on Drake's grave.
2 major
Yes, his grave, not his career. His grave. We got
Russell Westbrook dancing.
Yeah,
Russell.
Huh?
Yeah,
Russell. Yo, Russell was like, he was tripping.
He was in his element, yo.
We got Will Chisholm with a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Will. He says, it's not a work when a guy says you like little girls. And the fact that every single time he did Not Like Us, he said, hey, Drake, I heard you like him young. It wasn't like, yo, he was like, that's a 5-year-old type, bro. Like, what are you saying about this man? And we also got Power Driver Finisher. He says, do you guys think they're giving her more to do in matches and she can't keep up because she only ever really had squash matches in AEW?
It could be part of it.
I don't think it's that, because I go back to her last match in AEW with Chris Statlander. That was great. Her last match in AEW was about like 12, 15 minutes with Chris Statlander in the main event on a Rampage. It was taped.
That was one of her best matches.
Yeah.
It was one of her best matches of her career. They're only giving her kind of a couple of moves to do on her hot tag, really. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's not her messing up in a singles match where that point is valid, where you could say they're giving her more to do in these singles matches. No, they're giving her the hot tag in tag team matches. And it's just, whether it's the crowd noise, whether it's something else, whether it's janky ropes, which that was the case at Clash at the Castle, it's something that's not really clicking right now. And I think that we're going to have to give her time to develop more and more. And honestly, this goes back to what I said when she originally signed with the company. I thought the best move for her was to start in NXT. She's the type of talent that honestly should have started out in NXT, where she could have had a dominant run, build her up, have her in squash matches, then bring her into more like singles matches where she's able to show a little bit more, and then eventually make her the NXT Women's Champion.
They could have done Mandy
Rose. That's what they put her on the main roster, and I feel like that's too much too soon.
Yeah. And I think part of that too, right, where you just mentioned like she should have started at NXT. I think the problem is not so much with NXT. I think the problem is that when they brought her in, they made her this big deal of big signing, right? The presentation of it, big signing. She was showing up on Raw. She was showing up on SmackDown. She was having negotiations. The problem with that is that imagine they're doing all of that, and then all of a sudden, hey, I'm signing with NXT. It kind of would have been like, what the fuck? Like, you just signed.
But I mean, no.
I don't think so. I don't think so. It would have put over NXT, in my opinion. It would have.
I mean, it could have, but at the same time,
that's what they're trying to do right now. That's what it seems.
I think what it is,
revive NXT. It would have made NXT look good.
It could have. Yeah, I mean, it could have been, but the problem is that because of the, you're already dealing with the main, the casuals. You're already dealing with those kind of audience. That if you would have done that to her, then that would have been like, oh, all right, like pick NXT, like, all right, cool, because you made her like this big free agent. You know what I mean? And then you choose NXT. It was like, all right, cool. But I do agree. She should have started in NXT. I think they should have done like a slow burn, like took the pressure off of her, put her on NXT, worked some stuff there. She could have easily been a women's champion within like 3-4 months, because I think she's that kind of
facts.
Especially in NXT, you could get it away with that shit in NXT. You got Trick Williams as NXT champion. I think he's trapped. So I'm just saying.
But Trick in a lot of ways is a lot like Jade, where Jade has the character down, has the star power down, and Trick has a lot of the charisma, the talking on the mic, and the character down, but he's still working as far as an in-ring performer like Jade is. But I agree. It just seems like
it would have been beneficial. It would have been beneficial because, again, she could have gotten away with those stuff in NXT.
But we got to talk about news coming out of Clash at the Castle. And of course, a lot of the talk was about CM Punk and his interference in the Clash at the Castle main event. He also was on the post-show media scrum where he talked about that he would soon be seeing his doctor with the idea that he's going to be cleared. Fightful Select reports that WWE's hope is that CM Punk will be ready to return to the ring in time for WWE SummerSlam in August. It was initially reported by WrestleVotes that Punk likely wouldn't be cleared in time for Money in the Bank, but he should be ready for SummerSlam. Punk was advertised for last night's SmackDown in his hometown of Chicago. Dave Meltzer had an update on Punk's status in this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, and Meltzer reports that while the hope is that Punk versus McIntyre will take place at the August Premium Live event, it's currently quote-unquote up in the air if Punk will be ready and cleared to return to the ring by that date. Punk's in-ring return by that time frame is reportedly not a sure thing. Of course, Punk suffered a torn triceps injury earlier this year while competing in the Royal Rumble matchup earlier in January, putting him out of action for the first half of the year. WWE SummerSlam is, of course, scheduled for Saturday, August 3rd in Cleveland, Ohio. Do you think Punk will be back? What will you put it at? 0 to 100. What do you say is the percentage Punk will be back in time for SummerSlam? Krssi?
75, 85. 75 to 85%.
That's fair. What about you, Josh?
100%.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
Right.
I'll put it at 90, 95. I'm pretty high as
Pretty
well.
high? Okay.
Punk will be back in time, and especially after what we saw last night on SmackDown, which we'll get into shortly. Fightful Select had some other backstage notes on WWE Clash at the Castle, including one of the other rope incidents on the show. Damian Priest getting tied up in a scary spot where his foot got caught in between the ropes and he was attempting to do a flip dive over the top rope. Fightful reports that the initial word was that Damian Priest was fine after the matchup, and despite the botch, he effectively sold off the attempt. Priest reportedly received a great deal of praise for his performance. I gotta say, this was Damian Priest's best performance as World Heavyweight Champion. The fact that he was able on the fly to improvise and make his selling of the ankle part of the matchup, that shows me he has the poise of a main event performer. Krssi, what did you think about Priest's performance?
I think he did very well. He showed sign, like, especially that spot. I'm like, okay, it's not a work. It was clearly an accident. And then you incorporate that whole like leg spot. Hi, friends. Hey, friends. What's going on? And to incorporate that into the match is actually genius, and just shows that he's here to be one of like the main eventers. Like he's trying to be one of the top guys in this company that they can count on. That's not like one of the bigger names like Seth, Roman, the big Drews, those guys basically. So, to solidify your name and do this was great. And one of his best matches, I want to say, for, he did deliver. He did great.
Definitely. Also, should be noted, WWE Clash at the Castle set a record for WWE 1 month after setting the record for the largest arena gate ever at WWE Backlash France. WWE broke it again with Clash at the Castle. Fightful reports that the Scotland event now has the record for the largest gate, surpassing what was previously set on May 4th in Lyon, France. WWE announced the attendance of 11,391. Do you think they're going to break this record again later this year, Josh?
Where they're at again later this year?
I think Germany might be able
I think they're supposed to go back away again.
Is that no, I think that's a stadium show, if I'm not mistaken. Germany. So I don't know when the next arena show, but you got like Survivor Series that hasn't been announced yet and stuff like that. Do you think they're going to be able to break this record from Clash at the Castle?
I mean, most likely. Who knows if they even lying about it to begin with? But yeah, they're gonna say they broke it.
They'll say they broke it, says Josh. And then finally, WWE is reportedly nearing a deal with Indiana Sports Corporation for several events coming up that would start with the Royal Rumble. WrestleVotes reports that WWE and the organization are close to a multi-event deal that would begin with the 2025 Rumble at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, and this time it would be the first time ever WWE will hold the Royal Rumble in February, with the date tentatively made for February 1st. WWE has yet to announce a deal or confirm the report, but I feel like the bigger report is that Royal Rumble in February. I don't know. I feel like January. It needs to be in January.
It needs to be in January.
January.
Yeah. That's a disservice. I'm sorry. That's kind of a big mistake. It sets the tone for everything. It starts off the beginning of the year of the big four ish now, and to put it in February. So what are we doing for January then? Like why are we aiming for? I don't like what's the
a whole 2 months? A whole 2 months to build to the Royal Rumble.
Sure.
Unless they add a December pay-per-view again.
Right. Which they shouldn't, but whatever.
No, they shouldn't. They really should.
They really should.
Or maybe they run back. They run back and try to do day one again.
No, don't do that either. Don't do it. Yeah, just
yes. December to December on January. Let's go. Let's go. We also got Alex Powell who says I can see WWE doing a PLE in Ireland for sure. Due to the reaction and the record gate that they got in Scotland, I can definitely see them doing one in Ireland as well. Keep it even with the lands. But what happened at Clash at the Castle transitioned nicely into what went down Monday on Monday Night Raw. They did 1.7 million viewers, their highest viewership since April, and the show featured one of the best episodes of the year. I called it the second best episode of the year after The Rock made Cody bleed in Chicago in the rain. That was number one. But this is number two for me because after months of QR code teases, the Wyatt Six made their dramatic debut with an all-out assault on the backstage area in one of the better produced WWE introductions in quite some time, where they seemingly murdered various superstars and production staff, including the one and only Chad Gable, who looked like he got shot in the head, as Uncle Howdy led his crew to the stage for a great reaction from the live crowd and Corpus Christi, who were amazing all night on Monday, with the Wyatt Six being introduced in dramatic and major fashion to end the show. But speaking of Gable, he lost earlier in the show in the opener to former Wyatt family member Braun Strowman. Coincidence? I think not. In a quick matchup. Post-match, Gable chastised the Alpha Academy until Otis finally snapped, pushing down his coach to a huge pop from the Corpus Christi crowd. Later on in the show, Otis let Gable know that we are done, as Alpha Academy walked out on Gable as Gable set his sights on the Money in the Bank contract. Seth Rollins made his surprise return to a huge ovation from this Corpus Christi crowd to kick off the show, and was interrupted by World Heavyweight Champion Damian Priest, who went on after Seth compared himself to Damian Priest and their journeys to becoming world champion. It led to Priest challenging the former champion to a match coming up on July 6th in Toronto at Money in the Bank that was later made official for the show. Drew McIntyre quit WWE after his encounter in Scotland with CM Punk, screwing him out of the world title at Clash at the Castle. He walked out on Adam Pearce as well as Triple H in the gorilla position, trying to talk some sense into him. Drew seemingly quits, but more on that in a bit. And then you also had Braun Breaker, who set his sights and targeted Sami Zayn's Intercontinental Championship before being interrupted by Sheamus. This led to Sheamus actually winning against Breaker by disqualification, however, after Ludwig Kaiser continued his rivalry with Sheamus, getting involved and attacking the Celtic Warrior. However, it was Braun Breaker who speared the crap out of Ludwig Kaiser as well as Sheamus, to stand tall before getting in the face of the Intercontinental Champion. Meanwhile, you had the latest in the ongoing drama, the ongoing soap opera that I like to call Liv trying to fuck Dom. But as Liv Morgan stole Dominic Mysterio's cowskin vest and paraded around with it, as she then told Dom that he had to unzip her and take the vest himself, only to be caught by Damian Priest, who realized that Liv is loca. Liv showed up earlier in the night to actually interfere and distract Zelina Vega as Io Sky beat Vega and Kiana James, while Jey Uso picked up the victory, defeating Finn Balor and Rey Mysterio for both Io and Jay to qualify for the women's and men's Money in the Bank ladder match. You sound exasperated by that last result. Krssi Love, what did you think overall of WWE Raw this week?
Raw was great. It started off great and it ended even better. So happy for that. Good episode, like you said. Like the ending of this episode was like by far one of the best since The Rock and the Rain. That's the number one for the year, or whatever. Still the final boss doing that. That's, you know, and he's cussing like,
look at you now, boy.
Yeah,
look at you now, boy.
Look, Mama Rhodes. So it was really good. Solid show. Io winning to be in the ladder match again. Not really necessary, but what are you going to do with her? So I guess you put her in there.
Was there a better option in that matchup?
Fair. But I mean, like, whatever. I don't know. We'll see when we talk about the SmackDown results. It's totally different than what we got from the Raw episode. Totally different outcomes. People that you thought would have won didn't win. So it's like, okay, why did you make the obvious people win in this one? I guess they have to be anchors, right? So you have to anchor the match and let it go some kind of way.
And Io won Money in the Bank last year, so it makes sense for her to be back in the ladder match.
Sure. Whatever you say.
Josh, what did you think about this week's Raw and the Wyatt Sick6 debut?
Great episode. The Wyatt Sick stuff is great, but
where's it gonna go? What are we doing after this?
I mean, that's basically where I'm at. You know, as good as it was, it's kind of like I'm not gonna. I know there's people who, like, you know, they enjoyed it, they loved it. You know, it's the best thing they've ever seen in their life. I'm not one of those, because I just want to see where it goes. I like the presentation, but again, when we kind of seen the stuff with the Wyatt stuff booking, like we've seen it go south, and it's a constant, because you know, rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. But when he came back, that was a great introduction when he came back. But then the stuff after that, just, it wasn't the same. It didn't hit the same.
Nope.
So that's why I'm like, it was great, but I'm like, I want to see where it goes.
Yeah, and I understand, some people really loved it and they wanted to just be in that moment of having fun, and it was a great tribute to Bray Wyatt, and I respect all of that. But the thing that bothered me about that response is when they try to come back at people who have legitimate concerns about what's next. When you have this type of thing where multiple people are being murdered, and the past with the Bray Wyatt character, I understand if people are like, yeah, I don't know where this is going to go after this. That's the only concerning part. And I talked about it last week because, it was teased that this was going to happen. And then I said it again on our review that I hope that this is not the peak of the angle. And Harlem says hi. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, Harlem.
Yeah, and it's valid. I just don't like, I'm actually with you on that, because it was kind of like when people had legit concerns. It wasn't the fact, honestly, at least on my end, I didn't see nobody who disliked it, and that's a good thing. There was people who had legit concern, and I think that's different from if you have concern to comparing to if you just didn't like it. I think those are two different things.
Yep.
So like, I seen that too. Like there was people who were like trying to like criticize those who were skeptical. And it's just like, yes, we get it, right? They want to pay tribute, they want to pay homage to Brave, but at the same time, I think you do have the right to feel concerned. I mean, because it is still a TV show, and this is something that they brought to the television. So of course you're gonna have some real concern of, all right, what's gonna be next? I think that's fair. I think that's valid.
I also think that it's a disservice to do this tribute to this person, and he's not even like, he's not on the lantern. Like where's the representation? What's happening right now? Like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think he's more of he's the in spirit sixth member of the Wyatt Six.
Sure. Okay.
It's like Romeo said he was in the lantern. That's what Romeo said. He's in the lantern.
He's in the lantern. Yeah, that's the only place you can think of, because I'm like, nowhere else is like, I see him, like he's there in spirit. Okay, great. He's there on his shoulder. Whatever. Which
I think it's fine. I think if you're going like that kind of route, I'm totally fine with it. And then also, like, I know they did promote it as the Wyatt Six, so I just wouldn't want them to put anybody just there. I think the people that they did get makes sense, right? Yeah. Because they're like they're either weird, they're either creepy. So it kind of fits that, like, you know, like Nikki Cross. She started with what was that group? Insanity.
Yep.
So like, this is like her path. Dexter Lumis is kind of like he's kind of like a serial killer already. He don't talk. This is a good path for him.
Yeah.
And then you have Joe Gacy, who had like his cult thing in NXT. This is a good thing for him, right? And then
and he can learn from these guys too. Like, you know, majority of them, like, they're old, you know, much older than he is. So they've been doing this for a long time. So they can definitely like groom him and mold him until, you know, just is all we're asking is the execution. What happens now? Is Nikki Cross is going to be hell bent on like killing all the females now? Like, what is she going to do? Like, you know, we have legitimate questions. It's okay. Like, I have a right to like question what the end game is for this faction. Are we going to have them together for a year, maybe longer? Who knows? Like, how long are we going to have these spooky guys together?
Yeah, it's what happens, because I said this on the Rest Things podcast this week. Shout out to those guys. Those guys were amazing. Got to go to their studio, and I said I'll be the one to say it, because I know people are like sensitive to say it because it was just last August we lost Bray Wyatt, but I keep the same energy. I'm sorry. I got to keep the same energy and be the honest one on wrestling podcasts nowadays, but I'll do it. Bray Wyatt, he was very creative. He was very innovative. One of the best characters of the modern era. But then the bell rang.
No, it's true.
He's in my opinion, he's the greatest and then the bell rang wrestler of all time. Even better than Ultimate Warrior. Even better than so many other guys that are great characters, are great promos, but then the bell rings and they're not that. It's not that when they get into the ring, or the character, the story doesn't translate when they get into the ring. And I'm not saying that Bray Wyatt never had a great match. He has plenty of great matches. Usually Bryan Danielson is on the other side of the ring, which, I mean, it's Bryan Danielson, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. So I would expect him to have great matches with Bryan Danielson. But he's had great matches with other people, with Roman Reigns, with Bryan Danielson, with Kevin Owens. I even seen him as the Fiend. But a lot of it came down to, and then the bell ring, and it did not translate all the time.
And
that they can make that translate when they actually have to wrestle.
Yeah, you know, and it's kind of like, it's so bummy to that, because it's like he was actually, it wasn't like he was a bad wrestler. He was actually a good wrestler, but because of what they wanted, right? What creative wanted, they kind of just dumbed down a lot of stuff that he could do in the ring. And I think that's very unfortunate, because, you know, that's the vision a lot of people get now. Like, oh, we had the Fiend. Look, he looks fucking great as fuck.
Yeah.
Awesome mask, but then we had that shit with Seth Rollins. We had that fucking match with Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell. You know what I mean? Like, and that's unfortunate, because he was better than that. And I thought, like, if they would have capitalized on that, like with more of his wrestling, it could have gone to places. But the fact that you kind of just not only dumbed it down, but then you made him too strong. Like you remember like that match alone, he got hit with a damn sledgehammer and then he got right back up like nothing happened.
And they basically did a no contest in a Hell in a Cell.
They did no contest in Hell in a Cell while he still got up after the fact.
Yeah.
So it was like a lot of it wasn't on him, and it's very unfortunate because I thought he was a better talent, in-ring talent than he's gotten credit for. But I do agree with Sid that once, unfortunately, once the bell rang, I mean, you got what you got. And he had some of the worst rated matches because of that, because of what the company wanted. Not because of what Bray wanted, but because of what the company wanted.
Yeah. And this is like, I know everybody's going to say, but now it's Triple H. Now it's Triple H. Triple H was around during Bray's last one. Like he was the one running the thing when Bray wouldn't have came back if it was Vince still in charge. It was Triple H.
And he didn't wrestle for 3 months.
And he didn't wrestle for 3 months. The promo work was good. The feud with LA Knight, in hindsight, it helped LA Knight on the other side get over the way he did as one of the most popular guys in the company. But then the bell rang, and they did that lights out, that Mountain Dew pitch black matchup, which only Krssi Love liked. Only Krssi Love liked.
She probably likes the visual. She probably likes the visual.
The visuals was, I had like the visuals.
Did look cool. The visuals did look cool.
The match itself.
It looked like the Busta Rhymes video. It looked like the Busta Rhymes video from like the 90s.
Thank you, See, Josh knew where I was coming from.
But the match itself was the match itself was trash. It was like 5 minutes, and then Uncle Hottie missed the elbow drop. That was the whole ending was just dumb. that part I didn't like. That part was stupid. That part I can't condone. It was a 5-minute match.
Yeah,
it was a 5-minute match for a month for a feud that went 3 months. It was a 5-minute match, and I'm like, all right, cool. We were back in the what was it? Not even at like Ruthless Aggression era with some of those feuds. Remember like the Hardcore Holly feud with Brock Lesnar? That shit went like 4 months, and then the match was like 5 minutes. That's what that was.
I love it. We got another super chat donation this time from Chuck Berries, who's been one of our top supporters this month. We appreciate you always for that, Chuck Berries. He says, I love the Wyatt Sick grand opening scene. I just hope that this presentation is sustainable and can transition to the ring action. Yeah, I need them to have like a 2-year plan for this. Like it needs to be like a full arc of when we need to know like who they are behind the mask. We need to know if they're signed or not. We need to know what's their goals, what they want to accomplish here. And I don't think the goals need to be championship gold, because I feel like Fiend going after the world title was what ruined that.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
No, I agree. And then they necessarily don't need championships, but they still look strong. And that's been the problem with the Wyatt thing. Like, that a lot of them don't look strong. Like, yeah, they're presentable, but then they lose a lot of matches. Like, you can't have these guys lose a lot of matches if you want them to be taken seriously too. No matter what. Like, I know like wins and losses shouldn't matter, but I'm like, if you're trying to make a dominant stable and you want shit sustainable, you got to make them look good. And by losing, you're not going to make them look good by losing a lot of matches.
Sure. Next, we got to talk about some of the news about this Wyatt Sick faction. As previously reported, a QR code. This is a report that came out before the debut. QR code at WWE Clash at the Castle revealed a countdown that ends during Monday's Raw. It's believed that the group would be consisted of Bo Dallas as Uncle Howdy, along with Eric Rowan, Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, and Dexter Lumis to continue a form of the Bray Wyatt story. Ahead of WWE Raw, Fightful Select had more details about the group, and it was noted that additional pieces, including people who may not be named in the article, could be involved. All the members of the group have been away from television for some time. Rowan re-signed with WWE recently and has been at the Performance Center. Dallas hasn't been seen on TV since 2023 and had been signed in 2022 to play the Uncle Howdy role for Bray Wyatt. Lumis has been off of television for over a year without an explanation, except that he wasn't injured.
The group has
The group has been in the planning stages for a long time, and there are those in the company that think that it was a real chance to work with modern wrestling. While it was difficult in the past to make Wyatt and Fiend related stories work due to the supernatural elements, there doesn't appear to be any of those in this group as currently set as to be portrayed. The group has been planned since even before the Bray Wyatt documentary dropped in April, with a lot of work going into the costumes. Uncle Howdy is indeed meant to be part of the group, and there were talks of Mercy the Buzzard, Huskus the Pig, and the White Rabbit. Monday's episode of WWE Raw, like we mentioned before, featured the return of Uncle Howdy alongside this brand new Wyatt Sick faction that includes the real-life versions of Ramblin' Rabbit, Huskus the Pig, Mercy the Buzzard, and Abby the Witch, with Nikki Cross playing the role of Abby. Fightful Select reported, and WWE not mentioning the name of the group on WWE TV, social media, or the website is by design. Dexter Loomis plays the Mercy the Buzzard inspired character. Joe Gacy is in the gas mask that looks like Huskus the Pig. And Eric Rowan plays the Ramblin' Rabbit inspired character, which is something he acts for. Several others were kept off WWE TV for months in preparation for the debut. Jay Uso will continue to acknowledge the group as he did on Raw Talk this week. It was said that the group isn't likely to interact with every program on television as is suspected within the company, and that the ramifications will be widespread across various programs in the promotion, causing a domino effect on the show. The report noted that the wide array of talent and people attacked in the story and the characters who left before the show were calculated, planned, and designed for specific reasons. One person in WWE noted that you can't beat ghosts with wrestling moves, indicating that it would be too hard to pay that off without doing supernatural things. WWE was happy with the camera shot and reveal backstage, in addition to how the segment was received. They were over the moon about the crowd's reaction in general. PW Insider then had another report on the victims of the attack of the Wyatt Sick stable that took place on Monday's Raw. While some notable WWE superstars appeared to be among the bodies, PW Insider reports that the only notable WWE star among the victims was Chad Gable. All the other victims of the attack were reportedly extras brought in by WWE for the segment. Additionally, PW Insider reports none of the victims were talent on the NXT roster or anyone who will be introduced into storylines as a result of being attacked by the Wyatt Sick. As noted, WWE quietly replaced Chad Gable with Ilya Dragunov for the Money in the Bank qualifying match on next week's WWE Raw. It was now supposed to be Dragunov facing Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. WWE has yet to acknowledge the fate of Chad Gable as of Friday afternoon. And then Friday evening, during the SmackDown broadcast, Chad Gable was seemingly good to go, according to Raw General Manager Adam Pearce, as he said that he was cleared to compete on next week's episode of Raw. WWE posted a video on Twitter Friday of Pearce stating that after a tumultuous week where WWE social media was hacked, Gable is medically cleared and will compete in the match. And the video does glitch out a number of times, indicating that the Wyatt Sick were watching that video. But man, that whole announcement just put a bucket of cold water on this angle for me, because like PW Insider said, like the only notable face that we saw up close was, of course, Chad Gable. So all I needed them was to give Chad Gable a week off. He didn't have to be off television for multiple weeks, but just give him a week off after it looked like he got shot in the head. Why would you announce that he's going to be on Monday's Raw? Why? Josh,
they don't know the end game.
I mean, I was just like, oh. I mean, I saw it. I mean, we were joking because I was like, oh shit, he's alive, and you know, then he posted that tweet that he did, which is funny. But then I'm just like, what was the point of implementing Ilya Dragunov to say like he's replacing Gable, and then you do that? That's to me, that's where they kind of just fucked up when it comes to that. I was like, why? Okay. Why did you just switch it again to a guy that just got beat up? And yeah, A lot of people weren't happy about that too, because they're like, oh, you kind of just fucked up this Wyatt Sick thing already, if that's what you're doing.
They made it very warm now. It was hot. It was piping hot. Now it's kind of like lukewarm. Where you can tolerate the meal, but you don't really want to eat it. And so now you got to put it back in the microwave, but you're hungry. And that's really what it feels like.
I was like, why?
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, I don't know.
Very lukewarm.
I was like, why? Why? Especially after you just said, hey, this guy's replacing him. Oh, no, wait. He's cleared. We're putting him back.
Right. Like, what's the point? Like, what are we doing? Like, it's stupid. Like, don't do this. Don't insult our intelligence. Like, is he good or is he not?
I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of it just. I was like, why? Why would you?
You know that shit was like. You remember that episode of Martin when they played like the women's basketball team?
Yep.
He's like, he was like, he told the dude, Air Gordon, you're in. El Gordon, you're out. That's what they basically did with Elliot. You're in. All right, you're out. That's basically what they did.
Yeah, I don't get that one. And we got our good brother Nate Milton in the chat. We appreciate you for joining us today from the NWA podcast. And he says the let it play out crowd gonna come for you. But y'all are right. As K-Dot said, when it comes to WWE's track record with the Wyatts, why believe you? You never gave us nothing to believe in. Yes.
Right. Yeah, yes. That's it.
And you know what I say to the let it play out crowd? Fuck you.
Ooh, wow. Okay, well.
Hey, they're going to come after Josh now, so you good. Thanks for taking the heat.
I want all the smoke. I want all the smoke.
We appreciate you, Josh. We got a super chat donation from our good brother Will Chisholm once again. Thank you so much, Will. He says, was that the match that Brock broke Holly's neck? No, the Royal Rumble match was a match that came after he broke his neck.
Yeah.
And Holly was out for a while, and then he came back and got his only made-of-up push of his whole career.
Yeah. That was like his revenge. He was trying to get his revenge, and then the match happened, and basically that's how the feud ended.
Right.
Because Brock really did not want to work with Hardcore Holly.
That's sad. Very, very sad.
We got Power Driver Finisher. He says, and he has the match, and he's not even conscious or maybe too injured to wrestle. No, then you don't say that he's medically cleared. How can he be medically cleared, but he's too injured to wrestle?
Correct. He's not.
Unless this leads to another attack on Gable, which then again, I still don't understand why you announce he's medically cleared.
Yeah, it's like, okay. All right, cool, I guess.
We also got Nate Milton. It says, Josh said, it's always been love or hate. And let me say, I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way that you walk, the way you talk.
Hey, man, they want the smoke. I got it. I don't give a fuck.
Fuck around and you got it. But we had the Wyatt Sick also made their presence known on another show this week. The Wyatt Sick appeared to infiltrate the Pat McAfee show on Thursday, cutting the lights of the broadcast at the end of the show. WWE broadcaster Pat McAfee has since released a statement on his X account on Friday morning addressing the incident. He said, "Good morning, beautiful people. At the end of yesterday's show, startling and eerie power outage took place in our Thunderdome. It shut down our program abruptly and left a lot of folks worried and confused. I, just like the rest of the boys, saw the assumptions of the Wyatt Sick being the culprits and that we might be dead. We were going to address those rumors earlier, but didn't think anybody would ever understand without actually seeing what happened. So we gathered all our generator-powered security camera footage to explain, and all we can say is thank God for Jack Carr." Unfortunately for Pat, though, the Wyatt Sick once again interrupted the ending of a show on Friday where the screen read, "You lied." Do you think that this is an indication that Pat McAfee may be the next victim of the Wyatt Sick, Krssi Love?
Do we need another person, though?
Yeah, they got to continue this somehow.
my whole thing is like execution wise. Like, okay, we're gonna add a person in, no problem, great.
No, I think no. Pat is not being added. I think he means like as in like victim. Like, is he gonna be
like
just another victim, not added to the group, but
yeah, that's what I thought
victim.
I thought you meant added to the group. I was like, why do we need him? Okay, sorry, I didn't. I apologize. No, yeah, add it to the group of victims. Like, make it like, if this is what we're going with, and they're supposed to like make a whole like shit ton of like tragedies, make it happen. Again, all I'm asking for is how we execute and how we're gonna have these matches. That's what I want to know. You can do all this you can wreak all this havoc and do all this shit, burn this shit down. I don't know what's gonna happen after. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, who's our first victim gonna be when we have a match? Who's gonna be the person to wrestle? All of them, or just one? Who's gonna be the main person that steps out?
It's gonna be Uncle Howdy or Nikki Cross. Those are the two best, in my opinion.
Valid. Yep. Yes, that's actually very, very correct in itself. Again, like I said before, like a couple minutes ago, who's Nikki Cross her first victim gonna be? Who's she gonna obliterate? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's she supposed to do? Because she's gonna go ballistic, or she's gonna be calm. Like, which Nikki are we gonna get?
Hey, all I know is that Nikki Cross may be the best character actor in WWE history. The range of characters she's played, from Sanity Nikki Cross to Happy Go Nikki Cross with Alexa Bliss
Superstars.
to Nikki ASH, the superhero,
to worst one,
to Stare into the Abyss Nikki Cross, to now Sister Abigail, Abby the Witch. It's the same thing, guys. Just anybody who's arguing on social media, Romeo, and who's arguing with people that she's playing Abby the Witch. Abby the Witch is Sister Abigail. They're the same thing.
Yeah. That's all. It's all been leading up to this particular role.
It was a dumb argument.
You know what?
It really was. It really was.
It was a dumb argument, and I'm just like, why is this even a thing right now, guys? Or why are we arguing about this?
It's the same thing. You guys are saying the same thing. Like why? But we gotta get into another great episode of WWE television this week, because I gave Raw this week at 8.5, said it was my second favorite Raw of the year. But my Lord, was SmackDown better than Raw? That's how good SmackDown was last night. I said last night on Sportskeeda, a wrestling YouTube channel, I gave this SmackDown a 9 out of 10. I never really, other than WrestleMania, I think that's the only other 9 out of 10 show I've given WWE. But this SmackDown was so good, and it was from Chicago, Illinois. So the best episode of Raw this year was in Chicago. The best episode of SmackDown this year was also in Chicago. And this show was one of the most focused episodes of the year, as well as you had CM Punk kicking off the episode from his hometown of Chicago, after comparing him winning at Money in the Bank 2011 to Drew losing at Clash at the Castle and letting his people down. Paul Heyman interrupted Punk for an emotional promo exchange where Heyman warned him to leave before the Bloodline come down to attack. And in exchange, he wanted Punk to take him with him. Take me with you. Take me with you. After Punk insulted the Bloodline after they came out, saying that they were a fake-ass Usos and a phony cosplay Roman Reigns, you had Cody Rhodes came out to fend off the Bloodline and challenge Sikoa in the main event. Before the main event, though, we got a very interesting backstage segment where Solo and Heyman talked to one another, and Heyman revealed that Roman, before he left, he said for Solo and the Bloodline to leave CM Punk alone because of his relationship with Paul, and also to leave Cody Rhodes for him. But Solo responded, he says, "I hate to be the one to let you know this, Heyman, but Roman Reigns is not coming back." And Heyman's like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" This led to the main event matchup of Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes. That match didn't go long at all, as the Bloodline interfered about 2 minutes in. only for Randy Orton and Kevin Owens to make the save. It seemed like Solo Sikoa was dead to rights. However, he had a plan in store for all of them as the Samoan Beast, the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu, finally made his WWE debut, and boy, oh boy, was it a debut, as this man destroyed Kevin Owens with a Samoan drop on the stairs. He speared Randy Orton into the barricade, and then he completely obliterated Cody Rhodes with an Uso splash off the top rope through the commentary table. In my lord, one of the most impactful debuts in recent WWE history, as Jacob Fatu has joined the Bloodline, and even the Tongans had to look at each other like, oh shit, I don't know if we should be fucking around with them anymore.
Right? Yeah, like it was looking, the one over there on the right side. He was like, should I put my hand?
We sure about this?
Yeah, let me just put my hand up and just like be here, just to stand here, and Paul Heyman just in the background, just like, oh my God, someone get me out of here, please.
Elsewhere in the show, CM Punk was not done on his night as Drew McIntyre got his revenge on Punk, attacking and bloodying him backstage. He carried him to the stage in front of all of Chicago to see him with Punk with some horrible movie blood. I hate the movie blood. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
They need to add corn syrup. You add corn syrup and it gets a little bit closer to real blood. But I love the fact that blood is back in WWE. It makes angles like this better.
Much.
Use real blood, Punk.
That too, yeah.
We also had Logan Paul finally showed up to get the drop on LA Knight, knocking him out with a right hand after Santos Escobar tried to interrupt Knight and got dropped himself. All three men will meet in a Money in the Bank qualifier next week. Then, speaking of Money in the Bank qualifiers, you had a bunch of them on this show, as we saw Chelsea Green pick up a surprise win over Bianca Belair and Michin to advance and qualify for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, while Carmelo Hayes pinned Randy Orton in a triple threat match with Tama Tonga after distraction from the Bloodline. Meanwhile, the Bloodline made their presence known, injuring Kevin Owens and his knee, as Andrade defeated Grayson Waller and Owens in a splendid triple threat matchup with a great finish that saw Andrade move on and advance, qualifying for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match along with Melo. Top to bottom, my favorite episode of Friday Night SmackDown. I think it's even better than some of the Rock episodes, which were my favorite before. Still, the best segment that they've done on SmackDown is the Rock acknowledging Roman Reigns. That whole opening segment. I think we were in New Orleans, we were in North Carolina, and watched that all together. That's still my favorite, but like this top to bottom was the best episode of SmackDown this year. Krssi Love, I know you reviewed the show over on Body Slam. What did you think?
Very good, solid show to start off, start this whole thing and continue this whole Bloodline story. Like this is the part of the story that I didn't even see coming, or didn't even think that could be even possible, because we're like, how are we going to do this without him? And then you bring in the other non-related cousins that's not really their friends or whatever, and we add them to the whole family. Great. So the whole black family scenario. Everyone's a cousin or somebody's related some kind of way. Great stuff. But overall, and I like the fact now that we had Saturday play out and Drew gets embarrassed in his home country. Now we're going to embarrass you in CM Punk land. CM Punk land is now, and then the way he did the execution of this was even great. So he quit for 3 days.
Yep.
Or is he still
just to make Punk think that he won?
and that's exactly what he thought he did. And it very well, solid show. Again, happy Chelsea Green is going to be a part of the Money in the Bank. She will be good. If she wins, even better, because she'll be more obnoxious and another Karen. It'll be so funny if we're going with that angle for her to win. But then, we add in Andrade. Again, out of the three people, Andrade and Carmelo. I didn't think that those people would have won. I thought the obvious choices would have won all of those matches, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that Grayson Waller should have won to continue his story with Austin Theory, but Andrade's been looking for something. So, and it was a damn good triple threat match. It
really was. So yes,
responded to it big. So I enjoyed it.
And and they pointed this out yesterday. The people that didn't really get entrances were the ones that won.
Yeah. Yeah, they got the jobber entrances, but they won in the long run.
They got
it was okay.
It was okay. Exactly. Like, you came back in the ring already. Oh, we're doing this. We're giving them jobber. Okay, sure, no problem. And then they all won. And I'm like, oh, okay. We can respect that. Sure.
Power Driver finish. I mean, Big Man Dogs with a nice comment here said Punk agreeing to take Paul with him only to get killed later on in the episode is some Game of Thrones type shit.
It is though. Yes. You build your alliance just for your alliance and now just get crumbled from another person that's trying to get the throne.
Josh, what did you? I thought the way they did the Punk segment with the Drew attack was good, and it was telling to me that I don't think Punk is cleared for physical activity. Like other than getting dropped on the stage, we didn't see any of the attack really. Like we just saw.
And I like that part though.
It was shot great. It was shot great, and it was a very good plan B because I don't think it was plan A. I think they were hoping for Punk to be cleared completely so they could do the attack in front of the fans in some fashion, whether it was backstage or in front of the fans. But I thought that this was a great plan B to do.
Yes.
Josh, what did you think about the Drew Punk angle as well as Jacob Fatu's debut?
The Drew Punk angle was great. CM Punk deserved it. Drew has looked back. I mean, hey, he got it back and he did it in front of his He did it in front of his dump of a hometown, so good all around.
Wow.
And then Jacob Fatu, I mean,
disclaimer for him up here.
And then Jacob Fatu, I mean,
treat him like Jimmy, Jimmy Macaram.
Hey, I'm just saying. I'm just saying what a lot of people are feeling. I'm just the one that
I mean, I don't know. I've never been there, so I couldn't tell you, friend. I'm sorry.
No, I've been there, but
I know that's what I'm saying. I can't even really argue with you. I don't know.
No, but Jacob Fatu, I mean, that was a great. That's how we've been waiting for a while. Like, hey, he signed. Oh yeah, he's backstage at WrestleMania, and I'm like,
hey, when else is he coming out? Like, how long have you had him held in hostage?
And then that's how you. I mean, hey, it was worth the wait. That's how you bring in somebody.
And they let him keep his name. They didn't change it or do anything.
Thank God, because
for now, relax.
No, they got to.
I don't know. Because Tangaloa came into the company and now he's Tangaloa, so they can change his name right after the debut.
That's true. Yeah, he came in as himself and then he became somebody else within like 24 hours.
No, I'm glad. I mean, keep it like that, and it's a better fucking name, Jacob Fatu. And what was the other name that they had? That they put I mean,
oh no, stupid. Oh God.
Keep Jacob Fatu. Keep that.
Oh
keep
my
that
God.
name, please. Keep it. And it just came off better too. Like, what I mean, like that was more impactful too. Because imagine you put a different name and been like, oh, but that's Jacob Fatu. What the fuck? Why you gave him this name for? So I think it was better. They kept it. He looks good.
Mm-hmm.
He's in great fucking shape too. Like, so that's good to see. Like I said last week, I was like, hey, the Bloodline at this period of time right now was better than the last year's. And I'm like, and they keep proving it. They keep proving it and they keep elevating. So, they're doing a great job of elevating the storyline, keeping it going. It hasn't felt stale, which I'm happy about because they're adding members and they're doing new things with it. So I like it. I like the fact that they're doing that because it keeps me interested. Yeah. So this is the best way to do it again. And, I know people were saying like, hey, maybe Jacob Fatu is Cody's next opponent at SummerSlam or something. if you don't get Roman back, maybe that's the route they go. I don't know. Because he's clearly the best worker in that group. So
that's not the route they're going.
No, it's not.
I'll put a bucket of cold water on that one because that
I know a lot of people were saying
Solo.
No, a lot of people were saying that. Like a lot of people were saying that, but I didn't see it. I'm like, I was like, nah, he's probably gonna get like a SmackDown match. He ain't getting no damn SummerSlam main event match. He ain't getting that. He's a good work. He's the best worker in the group, but I'm like, he ain't getting all that.
Yeah, that's another case of too much too soon.
Correct.
In my
don't do that to him. Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that to him. Don't do that to him.
No. But let's talk more about the Jacob Fatu debut. Jacob Fatu made his debut on this week's WWE SmackDown, and a new report has details on his arrival. As noted, Fatu made his debut and joined up with the Bloodline. He's been signed with WWE for some time, and Fightful Select reports has a few notes on his arrival. According to the report, Fatu immediately made good impressions in WWE and has had a very respectful demeanor toward everyone backstage. Fatu had been backstage at WrestleMania and was around during WrestleMania weekend. Fatu has never wrestled outside of the United States, with MLW sources having previously noted it was due to a criminal record from when he was younger, something that he has moved well past, but it had prevented him from accepting bookings outside of the country. It's not clear if that will be the case moving forward, but the outlet was told that the hefty amount of international pay-per-views and TV tapings WWE has had in the spring and summer was likely a hurdle to his having debuted sooner than he was last night. His history had previously been a primary reason why he wasn't signed to the company sooner, but WWE's new regime has long been interested in having him be signed. Also worth note, though, WWE has filed a trademark for a new name, and the new name is Caesar Sokoa.
What?
Fightful reports that the company filed an application for the trademark, with some people over the last week speculating that could be the new name for Jacob Fatu, or even them changing the name of Solo Sikoa to Caesar Sikoa, because Solo is taking over from Roman Reigns, who, has long been advertised as the Roman Empire, and Julius Caesar was the one that kind of ended that burned the Roman Empire down, and stated his own dictatorship, which, the Roman Empire was always a democracy. So that's why Roman used to always say for his family members to acknowledge him as the tribal chief, whereas Julius Caesar had more of a dictatorship, which was all about him just being in control and not needing the acknowledgement of the democracy. So it would make sense if they made that the new name of Solo Sikoa, if they explained it in that way or explained it in a similar fashion to that, or even if they made it, Jacob Fatu's name and explained it in that fashion. But
yeah,
he better be careful. Solo better be careful. That's gonna be his name, because you know what happened to Julius Caesar. Everybody knows what ended up happening to Julius Caesar, so you better be careful.
Those Tongans. Those Tongans gonna stab him. It's gonna be like that. Who killed WCW? Yeah, I stabbed him, but it wasn't my knife.
unless his Tanga botches that too, so and stabs the wrong person. So we'll see.
He's like, oh damn, that was a movie knife. It just went into the thing. Damn. Oh, we also got in the chat here, DJ Duke, who says, you think Jimmy screwed Jay the match out of Money in the Bank? No, you're not understanding where this is moving toward. This is moving towards Jimmy and Jay coming together. Yeah. Jimmy has more of a beef with the current Bloodline because they kicked his ass out after WrestleMania. He doesn't have a beef with Jay anymore. I don't think he's going to be the one to screw him out of Money in the Bank, or he shouldn't at least.
That would be like, man. That'll be butt. I don't want that to happen.
Nope.
That'd be pure butt.
That's like Plan Z. That's garbage. Throw it away. It's the least of our things we want to like.
We had that shit last year with SummerSlam. Right. I don't need it. I don't need to see that again.
Yeah, I agree.
But them. Don't be surprised if we do see something like that, though.
You know, that's why I said they shouldn't, because I was like, they won't do that. No, they shouldn't do that. I don't know if they won't. We got Fire Driver Finisher. Fire Driver Finisher says going from corny names to what the fuck is this name?
Yep. No, I get the reason. I get the name, the reasoning for it, but we could have found another name and to say all hail like Caesar or something. Like his name doesn't have to be Caesar because Caesar it doesn't flow well. Like it just, I don't know. It just sounds really like generic, lazy.
Yeah, we got Big Man Dogs. He says they're gonna name Jacob Fatu Brutus Sikoa if they change Solo into Caesar. He's gonna be Brutus.
Yeah. Let's not wish that.
Yeah, let's not throw that in the universe, please.
We also got Driver Finisher says, bro, I've been waiting for a paternity test proving Sammy is Jay's real brother and not Jimmy. I mean, this is all I've said it like a month ago now. I think this is all leading to this new bloodline versus the OG bloodline with the honorary Uce. We need I said it last night. My booking for this angle is that this is all building to Solo versus Cody at SummerSlam. And they already tipped it off with Solo saying last week when he faced Kevin Owens to Paul Heyman, he was like, if I lose, I'm coming after you. You need to build it up, have Solo go on an undefeated streak. They win a multi-man matchup at Money in the Bank to set up Solo and Cody for SummerSlam. He gets a couple of wins before SummerSlam, and then he faced Cody at SummerSlam. He loses there, and then this new bloodline is going to surround Paul Heyman. They're about to attack Paul Heyman, and then all you hear is Roman Reigns comes out, makes the save for Paul Heyman, and then throughout the fall is going to be about Roman trying to put his family back together, trying to get Jay to help out and fight against this new bloodline, bringing Jimmy back, uniting Jimmy and Jay together because he's always been the one that's the glue for them as a team as well. And then finally, right before Survivor Series and War Games, they recruit the honorary Uce to come back with them and fight this new bloodline as well.
I like
That's
it.
the best way to sell something on Survivor Series. That's the best way to do it.
That's how you get War Games. But what do we know? We just, just regular people that's just trying to enjoy some wrestling.
Yeah,
man.
CM Punk say you need to stop with that fantasy booking shit while you
right.
He's like, well, fuck you, Phil.
Fair enough. We finally have the final notes. Speaking of which, with SummerSlam on the horizon, Dave Meltzer had a new report in this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter about two major title bouts that are planned for the event in Cleveland, Ohio. According to the report, Cody Rhodes will defend the undisputed WWE Championship against Solo Sikoa, while Logan Paul will face LA Knight for the WWE United States Championship. These have been earmarked for the event coming up in Cleveland, Ohio for SummerSlam, rather than Money in the Bank, which is next month. Money in the Bank will, of course, feature two ladder matches for a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship and WWE Championship. Damian Priest has already been scheduled to face Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at that event as well. But it seems like they are focusing on the Money in the Bank and that world title matchup. Maybe we get that multi-man matchup I just mentioned with the new bloodline versus Cody and his super friends. So what do you think about those two major matches, Cody and Solo, as well as Logan and LA Knight, Krssi Love?
I'm here for both of them as long as they execute it right and finally let LA Knight get some type of shine. Because if you don't do it now, I don't know it's going to fizzle out again because the light was almost dimmed. And so now he's a little bit back on top a little bit per se, and he's got a little bit more fire lit. I guess the burners are burning a little bit more now. But other than that, the candle is about to get blown out. So if you don't execute this now, I don't know what to say. Because Logan really does not need a title. Logan delivers all the time when he doesn't really need the title. He's like a part-timer anyway. But I guess to keep the belt in, it's not really important, but whatever. It is what it is.
Hey, it being on Logan Paul makes it important. It makes it one of the top matches the U.S. Championship is going to be in one of the top matches at SummerSlam because he's from Cleveland.
Oh, right. Yes. That makes sense. Okay. Well, I guess, yeah. But hopefully the execution is done well. So he probably will win. Damn, so LA Knight got to get another L. Shit.
No, I think he could still lose in his hometown. It's Logan Paul.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a heel. He's a heel. He's not a babyface.
That's true. That's true.
And they just had Drew lose in Scotland.
That is but this is more. He got more money than Drew McIntyre. So, and he's like one of the people. Like he got Prime logo on everything now. That's that shit in the middle of the fucking ring. It looks stupid. I want them to take it out.
Yeah. What do you think about the two top title matches for SummerSlam being Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes and Damian Priest versus Gunther? Because, I mean, on paper, that does not sound like two world title matches for SummerSlam to me, Josh.
Damn sure doesn't.
It does not. Cody and Solo stuff, I think that's just more of an angle because we've seen Cody beat Solo several times already. So I ain't got no fucking indication that Solo winning no damn title. So that's more of an angle based. That's okay to me. Priest and Gunther is like, I think it's gonna be Seth. I think it's gonna be Seth and Gunther because they make that announcement.
Wins that Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I think that's why they did it because I mean, no offense to Priest, I've fellow Puerto Rican, I got nothing against Damian Priest. I even picked him for to win the match in Scotland. When you hear the match, right? Like if I'm somebody who wants to go to a show, right? Am I going to go for Priest versus Gunther or am I going for Seth versus Gunther? That's just what it comes down to. And I think that's why they made the announcement on Monday. Because remember, they didn't say, "Oh, Seth is cleared" or nothing. They just made the announcement. He challenged him, and then that's going to be the match of Money in the Bank. So I think Seth is going to win. I think he's going to be the placeholder, and then that's how Gunther wins.
I like it.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
We'll see how that transpired. We're only 2 weeks away from Money in the Bank on July 6th. So we got Forbidden Door weekend next week, and then the weekend after that, Money in the Bank weekend. But we got a super chat donation here from our good brother Will Chisholm once again. Thank you, Will. He says, I think it's a reason why Sammy keeps bringing up his time in the Bloodline in the Gable program. I think it's because, fans can honestly see the parallels in the Otis journey to Sammy's journey in the Bloodline. But I think, you're probably right that it's also to keep reminding us that Sammy was a part of the Bloodline at one point.
Yeah.
I think that's going to come back around sooner rather than later for sure. But keep coming with those comments. Keep coming with those super chat donations. One more WWE show to talk about before we wrap up WWE for the week. And it was WWE NXT, which was back over 700,000 viewers for the show. And for the second straight week, I don't think I've ever said this, second straight week, they beat AEW Dynamite in the ratings.
Oh, no.
The show featured TNA Wrestling's own Joe Hendry, friend of the channel and friend to me. He follows me on Twitter. I follow him, and I believe in Joe Hendry. He made his surprise debut to kick off the program to a huge pop from the NXT universe. However, he was eliminated from the 25-man Battle Royal in the opening minute by his TNA rival, Frankie Kazarian, who made it to the Final Four. We got Javon Evans, who eventually won the Battle Royal for the 21-year-old to become the number one contender for Trick Williams' NXT Championship at Heatwave. Later in the show, Ethan Page, who was attacked by Oro Mensah before the Battle Royal started, challenged Evans to face him in the main event, with Page picking up the victory in a solid match. Post-match, Shawn Spears jumped Evans until Trick Williams made the save, leading to a four-way brawl to end the show. Possibly a four-way matchup coming up at Heatwave. We shall see. Kalani Jordan picked up the victory, successfully defending the NXT Women's North American Championship against Michin in a solid bout, thanks to interference from Jada Parker. And he also had Roxanne Perez and Lola Vice defeated Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, as well as JC Jane and Jasmine Nix. A post-match, Roxanne laid out her tag team partner Lola Vice to get the upper hand ahead of a possible title match we might see there. But good episode of NXT. They are keeping on a good streak with that going on. But what did you think of Joe Hendry's debut, Krssi Love? And do you believe in Joe Hendry?
I thought it was very nice to see him. Another thing that we're keeping this TNA door open now, which is cool. I'm here for it. But I know WWE is going to try to control everything that happens, but whatever. But they did a disservice to him because he got eliminated first and wasn't even in the match. Really, everyone just like rallied and was like,
hey, they jumped him.
They jumped like let's all rally and let's get rid of him. Like, which is cool. Like, I mean, I get like, you know, they kept it, you know, they kept the same energy. It was like, no, we don't want you here, so we're gonna kick you out. Great. But I mean, overall, like, you know, these last couple episodes of NXT was not really like fillers. Like it wasn't just like background noise. They had like meaningful like things happening added to stories.
Yeah, they had Cody last week, the Battle Royal this week. I thought it was a great touch having Javon Evans win. I love the interactions between Javon Evans and Trick Williams. It's like two niggas on the street talking to each other. They talk very natural. Very natural.
It's effortless.
It's effortless. Effortless blackisms. And especially when it's one day before Juneteenth. That's what I like to see on the NXT television. But the talk about the town was not Javon Evans coming out of the show. No. It was Joe Hendry. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry appeared on this week's episode of NXT, and a new report had details on the reaction in WWE and TNA to his appearance. Fightful Select reports that NXT officials were said to be very happy with the reaction that Hendry received from the audience at the Capitol Wrestling Center. The report goes on to say that TNA sources were pleased to see Hendry's storyline with Frankie Kazarian continuing on NXT, though some had wished he had a longer appearance. Sources in NXT said that Hendry is expected to make more appearances for NXT in the future. Hendry confronted Shawn Michaels backstage in a post-match video that posted to social media, where he said he can show up anywhere, anytime, on any show, and people just have to say his name. And Shawn Michaels responded, "I believe." Joe Hendry took to Twitter to thank fans for the reaction to his appearance on NXT. And the video of his appearance as of Friday night has become WWE's most viewed video of 2024.
Wow.
And it's most liked video of 2024 since WrestleMania. He has received an endorsement from WWE Hall of Famer JBL, among others. Hendry posted to Twitter on Friday, writing, "Keep saying my name and singing my song and making signs. You, the fans, made this week happen. Your voices will be heard." Yo, TNA, if I'm TNA, I'm trying to re-up his contract. I'm trying to keep him under contract with them for as much as he can, because with the numbers he got on social media, WWE is probably hitting them on text. Shawn Michaels hitting him with the text like, "When does your TNA contract expire again? Because we want you over here."
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Josh, what did you think about the response to Joe Hendry's debut? Not the actual debut and him being eliminated from the Battle Royal. What did you think about the response and the reaction?
I mean, the response has been cool. Do I think a lot of people knew him before this? No. So, you know, it's cool. It's good for him. I think
it's cool.
It's good for him. I mean, he deserves it. He's talented as fuck. But I think all those numbers, I think it became a thing because when they started promoting it, I think that's all it was. I think people just inflated it on purpose, and he got it. So I give him credit for that.
Yeah. got more views than your boy Cody winning the title at WrestleMania.
Well, I mean, he got more views than Dwayne, so I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Oh,
Also
damn.
true.
Yeah,
Also
yes,
true.
that's
He,
some
he
hard
passed away.
What?
Even when I
He
lose,
did.
I win. Even when I lose, I win.
I love that.
God, I can't.
Someone who's been losing a lot and winded up getting arrested on Tuesday is Brooks Jensen, who says that he is now a free agent. While a new report had an update on his actual status with the company, Jensen is working a storyline where he is dissatisfied with his spot in NXT, and that has seen him become persona non grata on programming. A new report has some details on Brooks Jensen's background appearances. As noted Tuesday night, Jensen appeared in the background of the Wesley Obafemi in-ring segment on NXT and was escorted out by security, only to be seen later in the program in the background of a parking lot segment being put in a cop car. Fightful Select has confirmed the latter was in fact Brooks being quote-unquote arrested for trying to rush the ring, which is obviously part of the storyline. The report notes that Jensen has been trying to convince Fightful staff that the whole thing is legitimate. It was also noted that Wesley was thrown for a moment by Jensen's antics during their segment and wasn't supposed to acknowledge his presence. Jensen, who was outspoken in his criticism of Shawn Michaels on social media the past few weeks, announced that he is now a free agent. And for clarity, Fightful Select reports that Jensen is still with WWE and will actually be working some indie dates in order to help sell his storyline. So he has now even said that he's going to be known as Ben Buchanan. Of course, he is the son of Bull Buchanan. So it's an angle, but I don't know how much people are believing it or buying it or getting into it. I don't know about y'all.
I mean, I don't give a fuck. Like, who the fuck is this guy?
It's like the Tatum Paxley reaction at Against All Odds.
It's just like, if you're gonna do angle like this, do it with somebody prominent. Who the fuck is this guy? I'm just saying.
Sorry, my going off because my kids keep coming in and out of the room.
No worries. You know why I understand.
So I keep turning it off and on. Sorry, guys.
A new report has an update on Gigi Dolan's injury status. She's been off of WWE TV due to what was said to be a serious knee injury. And Fightful Select reports that the injury is expected to keep her out through the end of 2024. It was reported by the Wrestling Observer that the injury was an ACL tear, which Fightful says they are working to confirm. Dolan last competed in March against Ariana Grace on an episode of NXT, and she had been in storyline vignettes with Grace, where she was being forced to learn how to be a proper woman, which were used as a way to keep her off TV until late last month. Sad. That's sad. Because I know she's always been one of my favorites since her days as Priscilla.
So that's why that shit ended abruptly. Because I remember like there was something like she had like a few dates, and then all of a sudden the whole thing just got taken off, and nobody knew what happened. So that makes sense.
I love how the chat is just as brutal as Josh said. I legit don't know who this guy is. Not to be rude, but who cares? Hello, I'll laugh my ass off. True.
Hey man, I'm just saying, like, if you would have done with somebody else, like, you know, you do a Wesley, hey, that you get some eyes on that. But who the fuck is this guy? Like, you saw the picture of him? He has a punchable face. He looks like a backup quarterback in the league. He looks like a third string quarterback, and it's not even a compliment.
Deadline finally had our last report. They say that the CW has set a premiere date for WWE NXT, which will premiere and debut on the network on October 1st. The show is slated to air from 8 to 10 p.m. on Tuesdays, which is the same time that it does on the USA Network. And I think that's bad news for AEW, because they better get used to losing to NXT in the ratings when they go to CW. Speaking of which, that brings us a nice transition into this week's AEW Dynamite as we go headfirst into the converse. This week's AEW Dynamite, unfortunately, did the record low TV viewership for the show of all time. 502,000 viewers, down from 681,000 that they did last week. The show featured another good episode, though, on the road to Forbidden Door, as you had Swerve Strickland had another excellent face-to-face encounter, this time a promo exchange with his challenger, Will Ospreay, with Ospreay telling the AEW World Champion that while he was worried about a hit row, Will had a hit list, and he didn't miss any of them. This led to Swerve making things personal by mentioning Ospreay's wife and kid, and seemingly threatening his friend's family because it's Swerve who cut a promo on a baby before, so he will do it. MJF had a successful in-ring return as he defeated Roosh in a hard-hitting opener to the show, but he wasn't done there. And later in the night, we had Daniel Garcia defeating Rhett Titus, which led to Hechicero and Cage of Agony jumping Daniel Garcia. Hechicero earlier in the night challenged MJF for a match at Forbidden Door, so MJF came out to make the save, only to get jumped by the heels. This led to Will Ospreay coming out to make the real save as him and MJF fight it off Cage of Agony and Hechicero, but it led to a face-to-face encounter between two of the biggest stars in AEW, Will Ospreay and MJF.
My boo got beef with everybody right now.
He was the main character on this show, for sure.
This was his week.
Then,
sorry, you're gonna do that later. Sorry, my bad.
You also had Orange Cassidy, Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, and Dante Martin beat Roderick Strong, Kyle Fletcher, Konosuke Takeshita, and NJPW's own Zack Sabre Jr. in a super fun all-star 8-man tag, the party match of this week. Timeless Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa had a good contract signing hosted by Mariah May ahead of Forbidden Door. The segment was interrupted, though, by Saraya, Harley Cameron, and Anna Jay, who jumped all three to set up a trios match next week on AEW Dynamite. And then finally, you had the start of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament as Chris Statlander picked up the win over Nyla Rose, while Pac beat Claudio Castagnoli in a great main event matchup for both Castagnoli and Statlander to advance in the tournament. Krssi Love, what did you think about this week's AEW Dynamite? And you mentioned it earlier, Will Ospreay, the main character of AEW, his segment with Swerve, people coming after the international championship like Daniel Garcia and Brian Cage, and then his face-to-face showdown with MJF as well.
Again, it's not showing in the ratings, but yeah, they've been putting on some solid episodes for Dynamite. I mean, it's sad. This week we didn't have really the playoffs, but we still have things happening, and it's like not letting people watch is just, I guess, a disservice. But what are you gonna do? But I think overall, it's leading up to like what we're gonna see at Forbidden Door is getting really, really good. I'm like, oh god, this is getting close. I don't want to know if I should wait till the last minute to get my ticket or should I just like get it now.
Get it now. Mine. Get it now.
Just okay. All right, I'm gonna do it. Okay, good. I was trying to see if I could, get in for a discount or something, but no one has gotten back to me. So, yeah.
She's like, I wanted the $3.99.
I wanted the $3.99. We don't got no Tru Heel Heat like pull or leg. Somebody could like get us in, or whatever. But hey,
you should have asked me that earlier. I would have gave you the media link. Link to apply. I mean, it's not a guarantee, but at least apply and see if you could have got it. But most people already got their media ticket already, so I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we buy. Okay.
Can't wait too long. Can't wait too long, girl.
I know. Oh, okay. Well, these things happen. It is what it is. But great show overall. I mean, like they're making like one of the best signees of this company for the year, Will Ospreay, and like my God, wow. And then we have Okada, the person that I never thought was like funny, but is like funny just without like being funny, if that makes sense, right? Just like it's hilarious in itself. Like it's just like, no, bitch. Like
he's like, oh, I pressed the wrong button. I'm so sorry, bitch.
Yeah, like it's it's so good, like. Great.
Hey, y'all.
Hey,
hi, Krssi.
Hey, Wendy.
Hi. I got my hair done.
Love the run-ins.
Yes,
Love the run-ins.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, we do. No. Don't be sorry. We always love run-ins. We got Chuck Berries with a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries. He says, say his name and he shall appear. And he's gone. Damn, why they hated on Joe so much, which thank you so much for the super chat donation, Chuck Berries, because I forgot to ask the question that is in the headline here. And I'll start with you, Miss Krssi Love.
Yeah.
Who had the better WWE debut this week? Was it the Wyatt Sick and the great production that happened on WWE Raw? Was it Joe Hendry and the big numbers that he did on social media for his debut? Or was it Jacob Fatu destroying Cody, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton last night on SmackDown and joining up with the Bloodline?
All three were good, solid, and different types of debuts, I want to say. I won't say Joe Hendry because he was barely there very long. He came out great, and then they was like, no, get him out of here. So it would be between Monday and Friday. I would go with Monday because it was more impactful, I feel like, because we've been waiting for it. We've been waiting for Jacob, but I'm gonna go with the delivery of like what they did on Monday. But don't get me wrong, Friday was strong as well because we've been sitting in the Raptors just waiting since probably like March, maybe April.
Yeah, I think Friday was better by far because
Really?
I don't have the but. There's no but for me with Jacob Fatu. Like with Joe Hendry and his debut on NXT, it's great. I'm a huge fan of Joe Hendry. I think that he's like got a ready-made WWE character already that can translate very nicely into being in WWE, but he got eliminated in the first minute of the Battle Royal. Correct. I love the production of the Wyatt Sick intro, and the QR codes were great to build it up.
Yes.
And everybody being murdered was such a great sight, and it was the best one shot that WWE has done in this era of one shot. And Lee Fitting was tremendous with how he produced all of this and how it looked. But I'm worried about this being the peak of the act. There is no buts with Jacob Fatu. Not only was it impactful and he premiered in a big way, laying out the current undisputed WWE champion, joining up with the main faction of the past 4 years in WWE. But the only but I have, but I'm more excited for the future and what it can be, what it can mean, because this guy not only had an impactful debut, but he looked amazing. He's lost 50 pounds. He's in the best shape of his entire wrestling career, and he joined up with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline storyline, which is the main factor. I'm sorry, Jacob Fatu, I feel like he cleared Wyatt Sick and Joe Hendry last night.
Okay, fine. When you make valid points, they're correct. Okay. The Jacob Fatu won. All right, he had a better week than everybody else.
No, it's good. It's good for the podcast if someone has a different answer. Don't change your answer, Josh.
No, you made all these damn. You did apples and oranges, bro. Like this, the pros and cons are far more bigger than the other one.
Josh, who you think had the better WWE debut? Wyatt Sick, Joe Hendry, or Jacob Fatu?
I'm gonna say personally, I think it was Fatu. As in like a viewership, like a bigger like casual audience, it would be the Wyatt Sick, obviously, just because of everyone was waiting in a different way because they were teasing that for weeks. Jacob Fatu, we just had to wait. There was no teasers, there was no indication that when he was going to show up. So in that aspect, I get it. I get why people will say the Wyatt Sick, which is understandable. Me personally, I would say Jacob Fatu just because of the impact he had automatically. And like we said before, he's probably the best working member of that stable. I mean, he came in, he beat the shit out of 3 guys, and he took out the world champion. I mean, that's how you make a debut when it comes to that. And then, Wyatt Sick, I mean, they did kill a few people backstage, but, that's something different.
Got some buttons and buttons ice cream.
You got ice cream all over your face? You want to show everybody?
And I got some They can't
Let me find you have a whole accent and now you live over there.
So who had the better WWE debut? Was it Joe Hendry, the Wyatts, or Jacob Fatu?
I got some buttons to eat from.
I've got some buttons.
Okay.
And
Okay. Cool.
She said, "I got some butt."
yeah.
You want to leave now? Go ahead. Love you. Yes, she has an English. She had an English accent ever since last year. So.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing Pepper Pig added to that too.
Yeah, that does it too. That does
Okay.
it too. I'm gonna take from the ice cream that she ate all the ice cream that Jacob Fatu was supposed to be having. That's how he lost the 50 pounds. So she picks Jacob Fatu as well as the best debut of the three. But yes, we got to get back into some more AEW. I see a couple of comments in the chat here, like Frantic World, who says Okada is great as a heel. I didn't mention it in the recap for Dynamite. The Acclaim defeated the Young Bucks in a AEW World Tag Team Title Eliminator, so they are now the new #1 contenders for the championships. But the Okada segment of the before the match was the best part of that whole thing, in my opinion. Because we established last week, not all of us love the Acclaim as much as we did 2 years ago.
Yeah, we said this already. I mean, listen, it's okay.
We also got Power Driver Finisher says Ospreay damn worth the wait. Yes, ever since Ospreay came, he's been like splendid. He's not only the best wrestler in the world, he's one of the best promos in this entire company. And him having a face-to-face with the best promo, arguably, in the company in MJF, that's exciting. Do you think, Josh, we're getting MJF and Ospreay at All In?
I think you get it if Ricochet is not on board. I think if Ricochet comes in, I think that match happens in All In. But if he's not a factor, then you get Ospreay versus MJF there. I think that's the best scenario you get for both guys. That's not a world title match. So I think that'll be the best second route for Ospreay, in my opinion.
We got Big Man Dogs in the chat who says, I did say they were going to hit 500K during the Forbidden Door build a month ago, but this episode wasn't bad at all, to be honest. Yes, that's a point I wanted to mention here. The quality of the show is not dictated by the amount of people that watched it. It was a very good show, even great show, in my opinion, this week. I gave it an 8 out of 10 on AE Ramble, but people didn't watch it, and they have various reasons, which we'll get into here shortly. FIFO did a report on what AEW and WBD are saying after this poor viewership this week. So the quality of the show has nothing to do with the amount of people that watched it. I just want to emphasize that.
Yeah, but he said he predicted. Get the fuck out of here. He's lying. He just want to take credit for what happened. Don't lie. Don't sit here and lie.
We also got here Frantic World also mentioning to you, Krssi, that Forbidden Door 3 is about to be sold out.
Okay, Frantic. All right, hold on. Don't do that.
They did. Well, wait. Hold on. They do have about 1,000 tickets left. Currently, they have sold over 8,000, which is actually great. It's more than what was that show that they did in St. Louis? Dynasty, right? So it's more than Dynasty. So they've already outdrawn that. So they're close to 9K.
It's about to pass what Double or Nothing did.
Yeah. So I think it's already past Double or Nothing. I think Double or Nothing was right under 8K. So right now they're over 8,000 tickets sold. So still a good amount of, there's still a week left. A lot of those tickets are going to go. So you still have a chance. It's just a matter of where you're going to sit at, to be honest, at this point. So Krssi got some hope.
Thank you, friend. Appreciate you.
I'm sorry, I had to cut my camera and my mic because my daughter came in and said, Dada, I'm angry. Okay, all right. So just to update everyone. AEW this week revealed the brackets for the men's and women's Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournaments on AEW Dynamite. The women's bracket clears the men's bracket. I just wanted to mention that. In the women's tournament, you have Statlander beating Nyla on Dynamite. She will now face the winner of Willow Nightingale versus Serena Deeb that took place on last night's Rampage. We'll get into that shortly. Right-hand side of the bracket, you got Deonna Purrazzo going one-on-one with Hikaru Shida, as well as Saraya versus Mariah May in a rematch from a couple of weeks back where Saraya beat Mariah May, and a whole bunch of idiots got mad at Saraya beating Mariah May. Look at that. Mariah May is going to get her win back. And then in the men's tournament, left-hand side, you have Pac beating Claudio, as previously mentioned. Pac will now face the winner of the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, versus the Rampage Dragon, New Japan's own Shingo Takagi, which will take place at Forbidden Door. Pac gets the winner in the semifinals. Meanwhile, the right-hand side of the bracket has Switchblade Jay White going up against Rey Fenix. That will take place on this Wednesday's June 26th edition of Dynamite. Then you have Jeff Jarrett, who, of course, was Owen Hart's tag team partner before his passing in 1999. And he will face a wild card. So now that we see the bracket for the men's and women's tournament, Krssi Love, who do you think will be the wild card, and who do you have winning each of these tournaments?
Okay, can you put the women's back up for me? I'm sorry. Okay, so I think wait, who's supposed to face Mariah May?
Saraya.
Oh, the thing was in the way. Okay, so I'm gonna go with Mariah May to win
the entire tournament.
The entire tournament, yes.
All right, and then the men's.
And then the men's one. Who can be our wild card now?
I got mine. I
already know. I already know who I think is going to be the wild.
I got mine. I got mine.
Okay, go ahead, friends.
I think the wild card is going to win the tournament. Hangman Adam Page.
Yes. That's who I have. I think he's winning. I think he's winning the men's. I think he's winning the men's.
I think we're all in agreement on the women's being Mariah May, but yeah, I got the wild card. I got Hangman beating Bryan in the finals.
Okay.
Yeah, because as much as I want Danielson to win, and I know a lot of people want that, I don't think he's in the stage of his career
and he doesn't need this.
He doesn't need it, and I think it's just winding down. You know, he's gonna put guys over, so I just don't see him. That would be great. I would love it. Like, if he was to win it, by all means, I would not be against it. I just don't see it happening. But I got Page when I got Hangman coming back, because they did say they're writing some stuff to bring him back. This is the best way to bring him back, and then he wins it, and then you have another match, Swerve versus Page, for the title this time. And then Page wins. Page beats him, and we get a heel run from Adam Page, and guess what? All the Elite will have belts.
Yes, that's what's gonna happen. The Elite got all the gold. Hey, Jack Perry wins the TNT title at Forbidden Door. You got Okada with the Continental title, Bucks with the tag team titles, all the gold for the Elite. I love it. Next, we also got in the chat here, Chilling with Chase says Danielson wins the men's, and he says Mariah May wins the women's tournament. You got Bell, who says Mariah May and Danielson, or Hangman. You got also Chase.
That's what I have.
Yeah. And Hangman and Danielson always deliver.
And I wanted to add too that there's a lot of people who were complaining about it. I have no issue with Jeff Jarrett being in the tournament, more so because of the connection he has with Owen Hart. No, he's not going to win it, and I think that's why I'm fine with it. Again, within everybody in that tournament, he has the most connection with Owen Hart in real life.
True.
So I'm 100% okay with it. I think if this is the best way to honor him, by all means, have him in the match. You know, he's not winning it, so it's like he's gonna take up a spot. So what? You know, he wants to honor his best friend. This is the best way to do it. So I'm okay with that. I just wanted to get that in there.
Okay, but I'll be that guy. The issue that I think is with Jeff Jarrett being in this year's tournament is, one, you made the tournament for a shot at the AEW World Championship.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's why
then not having Jeff Jarrett in the tournament, but not having the two previous AEW World Champions in MJF and Samoa Joe not in the tournament, that is lowering the prestige of the tournament. And then
I would say so. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And then two, you could have had Jeff Jarrett in the tournament last year when it wasn't for the AEW World Championship match at the biggest
What was
show
he
of
doing?
the year.
Wasn't he doing something last year at that time? Wasn't he?
He was
there?
just in Team TNA last year.
Oh, he was just like doing some
company.
fucking.
You could have.
Oh yeah, he was
doing
some
put him
fucking
in there. Yeah. You could have put him in the tournament last year. So I've just seen the AEW loyalists and people online being like, "Oh yeah, fuck you guys if you don't understand why Jeff Jarrett's not here." It's not the fact that Jeff Jarrett's in the tournament.
Yeah.
It's the fact that Jeff Jarrett's in the tournament and guys like MJF, guys like Joe, guys like Moxley. I understand Moxley and Okada and Ospreay, they have titles, they have other responsibility. That's fine. But Joe and MJF are the big omissions of this tournament, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. It's just like me personally, I don't have an issue with it, especially like if they were not gonna, you're gonna put them in. I will only put in MJF in the tournament if he was gonna win it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if he wasn't gonna win it, then I'm fine with that. But I'm also not gonna go hard. I'm not gonna fucking say, "Oh, this is why he's doing it." So if you hate it, fuck you. Like that's not where I'm at. Like I get it. Like I get other people being left out, but then also, I mean, at the wild card spot, I think it's gonna be Hangman, and I'm like, he's probably gonna lose. I mean, Hangman's probably winning the tournament, so it's like, might as well.
I just need the story to be that the Young Bucks put him in the tournament. They unsuspended him and put him in the tournament.
Gotta do it.
Where he's basically getting a first round bye because he's facing Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, and that's the best way to do it. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Krssi, I don't know if you have to lower your camera or get a higher seat, but we only see your eyes and forehead.
You can't see me? Oh Lord.
I don't know what you got. Yeah, there you go. Sis.
Oh, sorry guys. My bad. Oops.
No, you were looking like the next door neighbor on Home Improvement.
So I was like, this, basically. That's how I look.
Yes. But in the bigger news of the week, during this week's edition of Grillin' JR podcast, co-host Conrad Thompson revealed that a mutual friend of his and Jim Ross revealed that Shane McMahon has reached out to wrestlers on the AEW roster about appearing in the company. The rumor of Shane McMahon going to AEW was addressed by Dave Meltzer in this week's edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. According to the report, people on both sides noted they never heard anything close to that. And others stated that they were being asked about the rumor all day while hearing nothing except what Conrad Thompson said about the matter. The report also notes that people on the AEW side have heard nothing about McMahon appearing in the company or only heard the things Thompson has said while not hearing anything else independently. Tony Khan stated to the Wrestling Observer on Shane McMahon, and I quote, "I've never met him or talked to him in my life."
What?
One individual informed the Observer that McMahon had a conversation with a former WWE talent who now works for AEW. During the chat, McMahon reportedly said something akin to, "Can you imagine if I walked out there on Dynamite?" The conversation was reportedly equated to two people chatting rather than McMahon actually trying to formally pitch an idea. It was said to have not been a serious pitch or conversation, and this could possibly explain the rumor that popped up from Thompson on the Grilling JR podcast and why none of the key members of All Elite Wrestling had ever heard about the topic before Thompson brought it up on the podcast. Shane McMahon was in attendance at the WWE Hall of Fame Class of 2024 induction ceremony earlier this year, but what do you think? We're going to put it to 0 to 100 like we usually do here. Start with you, Josh. 0 to 100, the chances of Shane McMahon appearing on AEW.
I'm going to give it like, this is me being generous. I'm going to give it like 20%.
Generosity.
Because I think because it is very interesting Would I want Shane McMahon to wrestle? Absolutely not.
Hell no.
He doesn't need to wrestle, but he'll bring in some viewership no matter what.
Yep.
I think people still like him. He's still a likable McMahon. So he'll bring in viewership, and I think that'll be a good thing. That's why I mean, you know, Shane McMahon has always had an up and down relationship with WWE. So that's why it's not too crazy. I give him 20% because I do think he still probably wants, at the end of the day, to probably still be with WWE in some kind of capacity. If he goes to AEW, I think that probably relationship is probably dead. Like if he ever goes back to WWE, I don't think so. I don't see that happening because of that. But 20%, I mean, that's a strong 20% because it's like it'll be interesting no matter what. It'll be a McMahon and AEW. Whoever thought we would be seeing that? It's interesting.
Not a lot of people at all. What about you, Miss Krssi Love? 0 to 100.
5.
I love it. 5.
Really, I really want to say no chance in hell, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, no chance in hell.
If it was a different, and if it was a different situation, I would. But I think because again, Shane has had an up and down relationship with WWE itself. That's why I think it's not too crazy of a thought. But then, I mean, at the same time, it is crazy. But
it's a crazy thought, but like it probably wouldn't be so crazy because I feel like Shane was the child that's just like had to just be the asshole to just like, you know what, Dad, fuck you. I'm gonna go do my own shit and go over there. You know what I'm saying? Like he would be that child that do that though.
I mean, hey, have you seen the birthday tweets where Vince McMahon, when he says happy birthday to Roman Reigns, he glorifies him and then happy birthday, Shane.
Yo, he be sunning them. He be sunning them OD.
Yeah.
And like I said this week on AE Ramble, if I'm Shane McMahon, I think there's a little like petty spite that he would do something like this. Like I would give it 10% because like if you asked me 20 years ago, who did I think would take over WWE when Vince is gone? I would have said Shane McMahon.
Shane McMahon, absolutely.
Same.
I would have said Shane McMahon. That changed as we got, into 2009 when he leaves the company, and then Stephanie gets more power and if she's in the creative control, then I would have said Stephanie. Then that changed throughout the 2010s when, NXT came to prominence and Triple H was the creative force behind that. And then Triple H became the popular name. And then we're here where we're here today, where Triple H and Nick Khan are the real leaders and faces of the company. So if I'm Shane McMahon, I feel like I got pushed out of my birthright from the son-in-law.
My birthright.
So so I would say 10% just off of spite. And spite is a powerful factor. We do have a super chat donation here from Chuck Berries. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries. He says, I like where they are going with the Money in the Bank qualifier so far, but LA Knight needs to win next week. LA Knight. You separated the L and the A. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
LA Knight needs to win next week. Yeah, I'm gonna say yes for that because I think they want to prolong the LA Knight Logan Paul matchup for SummerSlam, and you need one of them to at least be in the Money in the Bank ladder match to prolong that. So you have LA Knight in the Money in the Bank. He's on his way up the ladder, and then Logan Paul cost him the Money in the Bank ladder match to set up SummerSlam.
True.
Best way to do it.
We got more AEW news as like we said before, the record low rating 502,000. So we got a report from Fightful Select that our producer with these headlines. Who killed AEW? Fightful Select spoke with AEW sources about their feelings on the number and how they rationalized it. We are told that the typical lead-in for AEW is Big Bang Theory, the real 4 pillars of all elite wrestling. They usually do a demo number of 200 to 250,000 viewers for their final quarter hour. This week's lead-in was the Black Panther film from 2018, which they said landed at under 85,000 in the demo for the final quarter hour, a significant drop-off from what Big Bang Theory does. They believe that the missing people that were the lead-in watchers that didn't exist this week. AEW were told that the tune-in number ended up actually being strong because of the lead-in drop-off. AEW talent that Fightful spoke to were surprised by the number. When Fightful reached out to WBD rep about the number, they said, and I quote, "Just a very odd week in general. It's a basically a whole mix-up of stuff like the Juneteenth holiday in the middle of the week, where they said, when does a midweek holiday ever happen in late spring, summer months? Competition with Olympic trials, as well as college baseball World Series in prime time. Amazing weather in much of the country, especially up in the Northeast. So lots more people out and about, especially with the Juneteenth holiday, and wouldn't really put much into 1 week's number. Although I know the wrestling community likes to go nuclear with these kinds of one-offs, indicating that they expect the number to increase next week. Another WBD source says that this number does not affect the potential of a new AEW WBD deal. So, you know, the Juneteenth holiday, but most importantly, it was the lead-in not being Big Bang Theory, which basically WBD and AEW is kind of leaving it off for. But, I mean, I think we all know it's really Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar is to blame for AEW Dynamite dropping.
Yeah.
If he wasn't the key to AEW dropping, then he was probably a minor reason why AEW dropped in the ratings.
Well, I mean, listen, it's Juneteenth. We was outside, you know, celebrating. Like it's not our fault.
Yeah, you know, and then also it's just, you know, you go from like last week, right? They had to deal with the the NBA Finals, which was around 680K.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To go that, you know, to go that low, obviously there was something going on.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like, try not to look too deep into it, but I mean it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I mean, what can you really do? Like,
nothing.
You can find ways, but it's like it happened. You know, you take an L and then you move on, and then hopefully hope for the next. Like, you can't dwell on it. But you know, obviously, the only reason why this shit bothers me is because Sid knows. It's more of the social media stuff, like Twitter. You know, people love the fact that they drew
not
what
getting
they
numbers.
do.
Yeah,
And it's just not realistic. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like it's becoming like so bad because it's one thing, like, hey, if you don't like a company, fine, but then it's like to prey on their downfall, and you know, you're grifting off of it, and you're creating content off of something that's like so like stupid to me, right? Because for us, right, when WWE is going through their rough period, for me personally, I never wanted WWE to go out of business.
Mm-hmm.
For one, I already knew it was impossible for them to go out of business because they have so much money.
They're WWE.
Yeah.
You know, they have so much money. But then for me, it was more like, hey, I want these guys to do fucking better. I don't want them to go out of business. I want them to do better. That's all it was. So like for people to try to like prey on their downfall, or you had like this one idiot, I forgot his name, starts with the G, where, you know, Bully Ray made a nice tweet, surprisingly, when he was like that. Basically, you know, like real fans wouldn't pray for like another company's downfall like this or some shit like that. So then the dude was like, oh, well, this is Tony Khan's fault. He's been asking for it, right? Like he basically tried to blame Tony Khan for it. And then Bubba Ray just flat out just roasted him. Like he cooked that man.
You know,
and he was like how he was part of the toxic WWE fan community. And I think there needs to be more of that, to be honest with you. More call outs on that shit, because these motherfuckers want to talk about like, oh, AEW has a toxic fan base, AEW fans do this and that. No, it's the other way around. It's all these motherfuckers who are pro WWE, and we've seen it constantly, that they are always trying to push some weird narrative. If it's not one thing, it's another thing. And then if it's not this, it's that. if WWE does something bad, they bring up AEW, and it's just like, whoa, what are we doing at this point? It's like the whole thing with Jade, right? When Jade had to botch, somebody legit blamed AEW for that. Oh, you see, this is AEW's untraining of her. You know? And it's like, it's getting to a point that it's just like, oh my God, guys, like, what the fuck are we doing? So when this whole thing came out with the rating, it was just overbearing because it's just like, guys, like, what are we doing? You know, like when NXT was joining low ratings, I wasn't happy about it. It's just weird to me. It's a weird thing to like be happy about. Because again, if AEW's not around, guess what? A bunch of people lose their jobs. Is that a good thing for wrestling? No. AEW goes out of business. Is that a good thing for wrestling? Absolutely not. Because AEW is responsible for a lot of things. AEW is responsible for the WWE being better. Like, regardless of what people want to say or not, they contributed to that. No matter what. No matter if they took a bunch of shots, whatever people want to complain about, so fucking what? Companies do that shit all the fucking time. And I'm okay with that because that's never really bothered me to like compared to like other people. But it's just one of those things where when it happened, it was like I already knew. It was like I was like, oh fuck, I gotta deal with this shit on Twitter. And it's like, oh, like I just wish shit was like better when it comes to that. I think people need to be called out on their bullshit even more. A lot of these fucking pro WWE accounts need to be called out way more. And motherfuckers just need to do better.
It's not even only like big ones. You got like fucking anti-AEW fucking burner accounts. I had a whole back and forth with a guy who has like one follower on a faceless profile who's like, all this bullshit about AEW. And I'm like, I don't even work for AEW. Why are you like insulting AEW thinking that you're like, and then because I replied, he was like, oh, I phased you. You replied. And I was like, what? Like, yeah, it's just, it's the lowest common denominator type people.
Yeah, and then also, yeah, I'm not saying that, but then also, if you got to make a burner account to talk your shit, then you're just a giant big fat pussy at that point. Because it's like, if you're gonna talk shit, just talk your fucking shit. Like, don't fucking hide behind some bullshit picture. Don't hide behind a Roman Reigns picture. Like, just be real about it. Be about it. Come on. Like, I could do that. I could talk my shit, and I'm about it. So how about you be about it? You know what I mean?
Be about that.
And I'm seeing that too much now with especially wrestling. The community, it's just fucking weird. It's like, come on, guys. Like, if you're gonna talk your shit, just don't be a fucking pussy and just be about it. Be, own up to it.
Like I said before about the ratings, the low ratings does not equal bad show.
It doesn't.
It does not work like that. It actually dictates what the next week's show is going to be more than it does the actual show that they're doing. But I agree with stuff like Jaleel. That's a positive thing to say. He says, I feel like AEW will be fine. They just need to try more new things. They need something that's going to be hot, that's going to draw people in. That's what AEW needs right now. That's the type of comments that they need right now as well. But final AEW notes before we finish up with AEW from this week. According to a new report by Dave Meltzer in this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, Roosh will not be part of the Forbidden Door pay-per-view this month due to a CMLL wrestler being on the card. As noted, MJF will be facing CMLL talent Hechicero at Forbidden Door. Meltzer reports that Roosh is not allowed to work the show since a CMLL wrestler is currently appearing on it, and that's why we got the Roosh MJF matchup on Dynamite this week. Speaking of people that we won't be seeing on Dynamite, unfortunately, a new report had an update on Megan Bane's AEW status. Bane has been absent from All Elite Wrestling for a while, and while it was previously reported that creative pitches were made for her in the company, Fightful Select has confirmed that Megan Bane is currently a free agent and can appear anywhere she wants. The report goes on to note that AEW has made contact with Bane recently, and the two sides have been in talks. There's no word on whether she is expected to return to the company, but as noted above, there have been discussions and creative pitches for such a potential return, and Megan Bane was announced for some GCW shows coming up in the future. So, I mean, the whole Megan Bane story has been a weird one because she was away for a while, then she's coming back. Now she's a free agent again. It's just been a whirlwind with her without us ever really seeing her on television. And
At all,
I think
yeah.
we're going through the same thing with Camille, who was reported to be signing with the company, but still hasn't showed up yet. And then there was the Body Slam report about Motor City Machine Gun signing with the company, but they still haven't showed up yet. So I don't know what's going on, but it's weird.
Unless they're not really signed and it was just in talks. I don't know.
So yeah, I would say just
it could be that. Because I know like I follow Camille on social media. Like she's been doing like a lot of stuff. I don't think wrestling related. I think she's just been like taking some time off or something like that. She's been like enjoying herself. So it's not like it doesn't seem like she's like in a rush to come back. But it'll be cool to see her, you know. She'll definitely help the division because I think they do need like another dominant woman. And you know, if they were to bring back Megan, she'll be another one. Like imagine you bring both of them in. That'd be kind of a dominant force right there. That'd be cool to see.
One for the AEW Women's World Championship division, one for the TBS title division.
That'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great. That would be great. But I do agree. It's weird. It was a weird situation because I'm like, she was signed, but then she wasn't being used, and then now apparently she's a free agent. I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like what?
But last Saturday, you had AEW Collision's 1-year anniversary, which was the Christian Cage show, in my opinion, as Christian Cage Father's Day special, where Nick Wayne gave him a crumpled up card, while Killswitch gave him a painting, but Cage only appreciated Wayne's gift. He also said that the patriarchy were targeting the AEW World Trios Championships, which parlayed later in the night when we saw the House of Black beat the champions, the Bang Bang Gang, with the help of Pac. This led to, despite Buddy Matthews seemingly being injured during the matchup, post-match Christian revealed that the patriarchy jumped Buddy to take him out, so the House were no longer a trio despite earning a shot at the titles. The Blackpool Combat Club defeated Team NJPW's Leo Rush, Rocky Romero, and TMDK in a fun 8-man tag team matchup. John Moxley cut a promo on Naito after the matchup. And then we had one of the more innovative no DQ matches in quite some time, as Thunder Rosa ran up a damn table and drop kicked Deonna Purrazzo in a garbage can. That was one of my favorite spots of the whole week. But Thunder Rosa lost to Deonna Purrazzo in a very good matchup there. Last night, you had AEW Rampage, baby, which had Willow Nightingale defeating Serena Deeb in a solid main event to advance in the Owen Hart. In the Owen Hart Cup Women's Tournament, she will now face her former tag team partner and friend Chris Statlander in the semifinals. Private Party beat Metalik and Commander in a high-flying opener. Post-match, Private Party brawled with the Learning Tree. Also, you had Shingo Takagi making his Rampage debut, defeating AR Fox. Post-match, Bryan Danielson came out to confront his Forbidden Door opponent, and Leo Rush defeated Action Andretti to qualify for the TNT Championship ladder match. Speaking of Leo Rush, in some AEW news, Leo Rush is back with AEW, with the single star reportedly set to be a regular going forward. Rush made an appearance for the company in late May in the Casino Gauntlet matchup on Dynamite and faced Roderick Strong on that week's Collision. He also competed on Collision's 1-year anniversary. According to Fightful Select, Rush is expected to be a regular moving forward. As the situation currently stands, there's no confirmation whether he signed with AEW again, but was factored in the most recent intro on Collision, and there are creative plans for him as he's continued his storyline with Top Flight and Action Andretti from 3 years ago. The report notes that Rush has reportedly made a positive impression in his return to the company and spoke interpersonally with Tony Khan, which I think means Tony Khan said, yo, we got a black champion now. And Leo Rush was like, all right, you're not racist. I'll come back.
You know what?
Remember, he was the one that was outspoken about Tony's tweet about Big Swole, and then a little bit after that, he leaves the company. So now that they got a black champion, they got Willow getting a push. He like, all right, I'll come back. He'll come back. Y'all not racist.
Sure.
Seems legit. Seems legit to me. I don't know about
No,
y'all.
I mean it does seem legit, to be honest. But I know Leo did speak even before that, like maybe like a year or two ago, he was like that. Him and TK were on good terms. Like they did speak it out. Like he did mention that. But also Leo, I think what it is too is that Leo, he is a young guy. And usually time to time he usually goes through like personal things. So he usually tends to like wrestle and then take a step back from wrestling, and then he basically contemplates his career. And then when he comes back, he gets it going. And I think right now this is like the most active he's been, because he's been doing a lot of stuff with New Japan. He's been doing stuff with GCW. So he seems like he's on a good path right now. Like he's in a good place. So I think that's why the AEW stuff I was surprised with. I'm like, oh shit, he's gonna come back. I don't think it's a contract situation. I think it's a date situation, which is what Leo always wanted to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he likes these long-term contracts. He doesn't like being tied down. And these are conversations I've had with him personally. Like he's mentioned this, so this is a good thing for him. If he could be a regular, not be under contract, he could get paid per appearance. I think it's good on both sides, because you don't have another contract for another wrestler, but when you use them, hey, here's your paycheck. I think it's a good thing for Leo.
Yeah, it's gonna work out better for him for sure. We got another super chat donation from Chuck Berries. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries, for all the support. He says, I love pro wrestling and competition is great for pro wrestling, but I can give a shit less about ratings. Absolutely. You should judge what you see on what you see, not on what the rating is the day after.
But then also, you know what it is too? Like I like this comment from Chuck Berries too, because somebody brought it up yesterday. I'm not too sure if it was John Alba. A journalist did bring it up. They asked somebody like, so you determine what the rating is to watch the show that you enjoy? Okay, that's fucking weird.
Yeah, I think I saw Brian Alvarez, who we kind of shitted on last week because he didn't know what cookout meant, but he actually had a good comment where he said that there's been great TV shows that have low ratings. Like it's a part of the beast of television. That's what it is. But we also had more news when it comes to AEW. As they announced this week, AEW will have its first AEW TV shows in the UK. AEW Dynamite and Collision are heading across the pond to make their UK debuts in August ahead of All In. AEW announced on Wednesday they will hold a taping on August 21st for Dynamite and Collision in Cardiff, Wales at the Yotali Arena. So big news for AEW coming across the pond. I might try to see if I can make a trip to Cardiff, Wales. And once again, Miss Krssi Love, you look like the neighbor from Home Improvement.
Sorry.
Just making sure you're here with us, and I can see your whole face.
I was counting super
Select
chats as you was talking. That's why I was writing them down.
Fightful Select.
So that's why you see my head down, because I'm writing it as we speak. So I'm like this.
Fightful Select had an update on Buddy Matthews following last Saturday's collision. In the main event, Matthews, of course, went down and was escorted to the back, favoring his knee. According to Fightful, the spot with the Meteor was planned, and along with Matthews being taken away. So it appears Matthews wasn't legitimately injured during the matchup. Speaking of injuries, AEW wrestler Kota Ibushi is recovering from an ankle injury he suffered earlier this year. He said on Twitter to a fan question asking when he would return to help Kenny Omega get his revenge. He said, of course, if my current doctor in Japan tells me that I can compete, I will report to AEW and return immediately. I'm now 85% alive. Please wait a little more. He said 85% alive. That's interesting wording. And then finally, AEW might be getting sued. As Kevin Kelly said that he plans to take legal action against AEW. Kelly departed the
he goes
company.
To talk to this guy of all people. Good.
Exactly.
I'll get to it. Don't worry. I'll get to it. I'm a cook.
He departed AEW in March, and he said he was fired after going public on X about his grievances with Ian Riccaboni, making disparaging comments about him and his frustrations with AEW's handling of the situation. On a recent episode of Wise Choices, Eric Bischoff asked Kelly if he plans to sue AEW, and he said, yeah, of course. Bischoff then asked Kelly about Tony Khan and the backstage environment. He says he's got good people around him that he doesn't utilize. His vision of what wrestling is for me works best on a small scale. People always wonder, why did PWG stay small? Well, I think they knew if they went big, it would go stale fast. Tony Khan wants to appeal to a niche audience with his vision of wrestling, but he thinks he can convince the people to watch on a grand scale. The other thing he's done, he's made himself the face of the company. He's the one going on TV interviews. Earlier in the conversation, he spoke about Ian Riccaboni making comments about him after he promoted the Sound of Freedom film. Kelly says the comments were defamatory and hurt his standing in the industry. He said it's about child trafficking. How could anyone not be against child trafficking? Well, apparently it's Quingon conspiracy theory movie. Eric, I don't know if you knew that. Bischoff then added, Ian, if you're listening to this, you're fucking weird, and the people who think like you are fucking weird too. Any comments, Josh?
I mean,
no. Okay. I was about to say, were you with us?
No, because I'm just like, when it comes to that whole situation between Ian and Kevin Kelly, I think Kevin Kelly was in the wrong because of how he went about it. He spewed on social media, and basically that's what did him in, right? He openly spoke about, for the most part, because he tends to do this bullshit. But he openly criticized AEW, which is never a good thing, especially when you work with the company yourself. And again, he could have been unhappy, but I'm like, bro, there's different ways you could have gone about it. Me personally, I don't think Ian was exactly wrong for what happened. That situation is just very muddy, because I get where Kevin was talking about, but I'm like, bro, it's always about how you go about it. Like, you could have a good reason for a good cause, but it's always about the execution of what you're doing, right? And I think that's where this stands on for me. Like, he was in the wrong for what he did. But then also, he admitted numerous of times of why he was fired. Like, so if he's going to try to sue the company, I'm like, bro, you already did yourself in, because you legit admitted what you did that got you fired. And you were in the wrong because you said, yeah, I made some defamatory comments, and then I left a nasty message for the lady at HR. Bro, you just gave yourself away. What the fuck are you gonna sue for, right? But the only reason why he even said that is because he said because fucking Eric Bischoff asked him a question. You're telling me if he would have said, no, I'm not gonna sue the company, you're telling me Eric Bischoff would have been okay with that answer? No, there's no fucking way. There was no fucking way that he was going to say, oh, are you going to sue AEW? No, I'm not. Why not? Why are you not going to do that? Of course. That's why it's all bullshit to me. He only said that because he was in a tough spot, and he was in front of Eric Bischoff, because Eric Bischoff would have ripped him apart if he would have said no. That's the only reason why that pussy said yes, because he has no fucking case. There's no case.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have a strong case at all. He doesn't.
And again, all his interviews, like, there's multiple admissions of what he did, and he said it himself. So I'm like, good luck, because this is a very easy case you could lose. All you're gonna do, it's not gonna hurt AEW, it's gonna hurt him. So good luck with that, bro.
Because it's an at will firing to begin with. It says it in your contract. So I like Kevin Kelly. Interacted with him on Twitter and stuff. He wished me happy birthday on a New Japan telecast last year. But it's very muddy, the whole thing, how it started, and then the fallout from him. But I think we can all agree Kevin Kelly didn't handle it the best he could.
And he wasn't that good. he wasn't that good with AEW.
That too.
commentary.
That too.
He wasn't that
Everybody
good.
had more chemistry with Nigel than Kevin Kelly did.
Yep.
Yeah, he wasn't that good. I think Kevin Kelly, I think what it is that when he's motivated and, you know, the New Japan stuff, it worked out because New Japan works a different kind of wrestling. When Kevin Kelly's not motivated and he's just going through the motions, that's when he's really bad. And that's what we saw when he was in AEW. Like, he was really bad. Like, he wasn't what we were seeing in New Japan. And sometimes that shit doesn't translate very well. And, you know, to me, I mean, again, he got fired because of the shit he was saying, not because of his job. But that made it very easy. Like, all right, we have Brahma.
It was easy
and
for
he's
them
not
to like
good
take
anyway.
you. Yeah.
So to just let him go. Like, that's what happened, you know. But the fact that he, even like Eric Bischoff, is just like, bro, like, we all know his fucking motives at this point. It's like,
right. That's why I was like, oh yeah. So you went and sat down with this dude. Yeah, there's nothing positive.
I was like, you already know the fucking motive of this guy. Like, he's like fucking, he's like Ariel for, like, when Ariel brought in Cody, like, he was just trying to find every way for Cody to shit on AEW, and then it didn't work. And it's just like, bro, like, what are we doing at this point? Like, that's the only reason why he brought him in, because he knew Kevin Kelly has an issue with AEW. He has an issue with AEW. Hey, let me get this guy on to shit on the company that I hate already because I hate Tony Khan, even though I tell people I don't. But because he brought up Ted Turner, you know, I'm still upset at him with what he said comparing AEW to WCW. Shut the fuck up, Eric.
We do have a super chat donation. Thank you so much. Jaleel is awesome. Indeed, you are. He says, I feel like the best move for AEW would be to move to Max, which would give them some good momentum and a bigger audience. I think the move is to put Rampage on Max, to put ROH on Max, but Dynamite, regardless of it having the record low rating, we can't, this seems like a move where you're basing it off 1 week's rating. And even that 1 week rating, they were still number 3 in the demo because it was just a bad night for cable television because not a lot of people are going to respect the fact that Juneteenth is an actual holiday, ladies and gentlemen. It is. And people were outside and people were watching Kendrick Lamar and people were not watching wrestling on Wednesday night. And still, it was top 3. Do not make a bonehead decision off 1 week of television. Not saying that you are, Jaleel, but saying that that's the best move for AEW seems like you're basing it on just this 1 week.
And then also it wouldn't make any sense because they still need that big TV deal no matter what. Like, you need that TV money.
You need that main television cable network show to stay in its slot. So like that's like why do you think they still have, like, look at WWE, they have the NXT.
They're still young. They're 5 years in. So they need a TV. Where WWE is a lot different because they got the Netflix deal. However, WWE has the
they have 3 other.
They have this, you know, they have the leverage to do that. Like, you know, they have the years of experience of television to bring that to a platform like that. But then also they were given $5 billion for 10 years. They were given double the amount per year than they would have gotten for a TV deal. So that's different. Now, if AEW was in a position where they're getting a shitload of money that could justify, hey, we could put this on Max, then you go for that. But right now, they're still a young company. They're only finishing their first TV deal. Right. So it's like that. It wouldn't be a good move to put Collision and Dynamite. Now, Rampage, ROH, you could put the ROH, even the fucking library if you wanted to. Certain like live events, like if you wanted to go like the PLE route, then shit like that makes sense. But to put your main shows that are bringing you the most viewers, as of right now, that wouldn't be a good move because they still need that deal to justify the means.
And if you're WBD, you want to have that on TBS and TNT because it's still in the top 5 every week in the demo.
It's still your best rated show.
Let's finish out the converse with ROH this week, which actually was a noteworthy edition of ROH. The show featured the best ROH TV match of the year as Kyle Fletcher defeated Lee Johnson in a terrific 2 out of 3 falls main event to retain the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. You also had another title match as Undisputed Kingdom beat 2.0 in a solid match to retain the ROH World Tag Team titles. CMLL's Teton made his return in a win over Aaron Solo. Meanwhile, Athena feigned relinquishing the ROH Women's World title, but then said that she would not relinquish the title and she would be champion forever, which led to Queen Aminata and Red Velvet interrupting, who said the champ was faking her injury like Billy Starks did at Supercard of Honor, leading to Billy being pushed by Red Velvet into Athena and being laid out. But some good action, really good episode. If you want an in-depth review, check out Fightful, where me and Astrid reviewed this show. My favorite ROH TV show of the year so far. A lot of big stuff happened, so check it out. Then
I heard that was a great match. Yeah, I did hear that. I did hear Johnson and Fletcher. I heard that was a great match, so I want to see that.
Spoiler alert, it's in my top 5 this week, for sure. NJPW Soul. Day 1, as we move over to Japan, the show featured El Desperado beating Sho in a steel cage match to win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. El Desperado is the champ, as Hanare won his first title in New Japan Pro Wrestling, defeating Shingo Takagi to finally win the Never Openweight Championship in yet another banger between those two men. David Finlay beat Sanada to retain the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. You also had Bolton Oleg, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Toru Yano beat Los Ingobernables de Japon's Bushi, Hiromu Takahashi, and Yota Tsuji to regain the Never Openweight 6-man tag team championships. And Clark Connors and Joe Maloney of the Bullet Club War Dogs defeated TMDK's Kosei Fujita and Robbie Eagles in a splendid tag team encounter to retain the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. We previewed this show last week, well, the main event of this show, so we got to recap what happened as Pro Wrestling Noah had their Grand Ship event, which the show featured one of the best matches of the year over in Japan, as Kaito Kiyomiya defeated NJPW Strong Openweight champion Gabe Kidd in an absolute bloodbath. That was a fantastic main event matchup, probably Gabe Kidd's best match of his entire career. Post-match, Aishi made his return to Pro Wrestling Noah to attack Kaito to set up the main event for Noah Destination on July 13th. But speaking of that event on July 13th, Noah's Destination got a big boost as Noah and WWE heard what Josh had to say last week and stepped the fuck up. AJ Styles is heading to Pro Wrestling Noah to face Namarishi Marufuji next
this
month
is a nice graphic,
on July 13th. Look at his hair.
Yeah,
Look at
so
that
like
hair.
that wind is blowing nicely too. That's a nice blowout right there.
Noah announced on Sunday that the former WWE champion will battle Marufuji at Noah Destination on July 13th. The company posted a video of Styles challenging Marufuji for the show, which takes place on July 13th. I was shocked and stunned. I woke up to this news and I was like, God damn, they heard what Josh had to say and they stepped the fuck up. What's your response, Josh?
Same thing, man. I was like, yo, they finally heard me. I'm like, yo, you want this partnership to be taken serious? You need some real people. They brought in AJ Styles. The best way to fucking do it. So I was happy about it, you know.
Well, he wins the question.
And you know, again, some people were talking about like the TNA.
I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters if he wins or not. I mean, it's WWE, so he's probably gonna win, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, like, to me, it doesn't matter. As long as you put that out there, that's all I care about. It's like, yo, I think it's gonna be a great matchup. I think it's gonna be a really good match. So, but when it comes down to it, too, I know some people were like, hey, you know, Noah's getting a main roster person before TNA, and I said last week I was just like, nah, like Noah deserves a main roster person. Noah's above TNA in my opinion. They're the second best promotion in Japan in my opinion. So I'm like, that makes sense. I wouldn't want another NXT person for Noah. I think that's a step below them.
And good point here from Chase, who says WBD would be losing money if they pit Dynamite on Max. I am sure in the next deal, AEW will probably have a Max exclusive show. Dynamite and Collision 100% staying on TV. Yeah, we're all on the same page there. I love Frantic World saying AJ looks like an anime hero coming to save the day.
I mean, it could be true. They fucking love they fucking love AJ Styles.
Yeah.
So this is a great move. Like if you're gonna go with a main roster person, AJ Styles is the best person because he does have familiarity with Japan. I get it. Nakamura was there before, but I'm like, we already fucking seen that. Bring in the next guy who was a top gaijin for a while in Japan. Might as well.
And his whole run in New Japan was the reason why he got signed to WWE.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Speaking of New Japan, though, they had a huge announcement on Sunday as they announced 18 other competitors for the G1 Climax 34 tournament. And boy, oh boy, did they deliver, because you have over in the A block Tetsuya Naito, Shoto Amino, Shingo Takagi, Sanada, Great Okan, Zack Sabre Jr., Gabe Kidd, Evil, Jake Lee, and the A block qualifier, which will be a mini tournament that will conclude on July 5th. Already advancing, Yoshihashi defeating Chase Owens this morning, as well as Callum Newman defeating Yujiro Takahashi. This means that we're going to get Tomohiro Ishii versus Yoshihashi, Kenta versus Callum Newman. I'm going to go with Callum Newman over Kenta in an upset, and I'm going to go with Tomohiro Ishii over Yoshihashi, and I got Callum Newman getting the upset over Ishii to make the G1 Climax. Who do you have out of this Final Four here, Josh?
I'm gonna go with this is a good one. We'll go with Ishii, and then the other side.
We'll go. No, just give who you think out of the Final Four, who's gonna win.
Kenta.
Oh, out of the Final Four?
Yeah, out of this Final Four, Yoshihashi, Ishii, Kenta, and Newman. Who do you have?
That's a good one.
Making the G1.
I'm going with Hashi.
Yoshihashi? What?
Nah, I'm joking. I don't know. Because I'm like, who's gonna be good? Because like Ishii, I'm like, I'll pick Ishii because I'm more familiar with Ish, but
yeah,
he's just gonna lose.
That's the obvious point. It's Ishii.
Right,
I think it's gonna be Ishii or Newman. I got Newman because I feel like they're gonna put the young man in there. Krssi Love, who do you have at
Yeah, I'm going with Ishii. Because
when I said Kenta.
Kenta? All right. Over in the B block, though, is the more interesting of the two, as you have Hiroki Goto, El Phantasmo, Yoda Tsuji, Jeff Cobb, Hanare, David Finlay, Ren Narita, Yuya Uemura, and the person that lit the whole internet on fire, AEW and DDT star Konosuke Takeshita will be in the G1 Climax 34 tournament. I am absolutely excited for that. But you got the 10th spot, which will be filled by the eliminator, by the qualifying tournament, as you're going to have Toriano versus Bolton Oakland. The winner of that matchup will verse Tanahashi. And you're going to have Satoshi Kojima versus TJP, with the winner of that match versus Taichi. Out of all 6 names, who do you think is going to the G1 Climax tournament? Chris?
TJP.
Good pick. Josh?
Ooh. I want to lean to TJP, but I think it's going to be the president, Tanahashi, because he's going to put himself over.
I'm going to go with Bolton Oleg. I think he just graduated
that's a good move. That's a good move.
As a young lion. I like Chrissy's pick though, because TJP just became the main leader of United Empire, so it would make sense to get into the G1. But the finals of the G1 will be on August 18th. The main tournament starts in July, so we'll do our picks for the A block and the B block in a couple of weeks right here on the flagship. But let's end off what we missed with TNA Impact, which had a really good main event, as it was former tag team partners colliding, as Josh Alexander beat Eric Young in a very good main event to qualify for the TNA World Championship 3-way coming up at Slammiversary. Ash by Elegance picked up another victory over Heather Reckless. Post-match, she got into it with Jordan Grace once again, laying her out with a title shot to the face to set up the TNA Knockouts Championship matchup at Slammiversary. PCO and Steph DeLander had their first date, and it was also romantic. They were eating worms and some nasty-looking slime, and PCO said he wanted to pipe until First Class interrupted, and this led to AJ Francis. Actually, they tied up PCO in the ropes, and AJ Francis chokeslammed Steph through the table, making PCO watch. It was horrible, horrible First Class. I love you guys. But good episode of TNA Impact following up at Against All Odds. But that brings us to the close of the show, where we do the best of the week, match of the week, as well as our best and worst. Who had the best week ever? Who had the worst week ever? Let us know in the live chat. If you're watching this far into the podcast, we appreciate you on demand. Tell us in the comments down below who had the best week of the week, who had the worst of the week, and what was your matches of the week. But in my opinion, who had the best week this week? I'm going to go with the Wyatt Six. Since I didn't give them the better No, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm gonna go with Joe Hendry. I'm sorry. I gotta go with Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. I think Joe Hendry had the best week ever because he only had to work for 1 minute and he became the most popular guy in WWE. Who had the best week for you, Miss Krssi Love?
I'm gonna give it to Lil Ospreay.
He was the main character on Dynamite this week. That's a good shout. Josh?
I'm gonna go with Joe Henry. His stock rose up, so when he's a free agent, it only helps him in the long run.
Pretty much.
That's fair. That's fair. And the worst of the week, it's gotta be Drew McIntyre because he lost in Scotland. Josh?
I don't know why I find that so funny.
Who had the worst week, Josh?
Who had the worst week? Who had the worst week? That's a good one. I want to say Drew, then he got his lick back.
Right. I'm about to say he really didn't have that much of a worst week.
Easily. Chad Gable.
That's what
Chad
Gable.
He lost to Sami Zayn. He lost to Braun Strowman, and then he got murdered on TV. Pick. He got murdered on TV, and then he got brought back to life.
Terrible week. Terrible. Worst week ever.
you know how earlier in the show I convinced y'all that Jacob Fatu had the better WWE debut. Y'all convinced me. Yes, Chad Gable had the worst. He got shot in the head.
He lost 3 times and he got shot. Like it can't get no worse than that. That was my pick. I was like, y'all picking Drew.
I was like thinking about it. I'm like, wait a minute, Chad Gable, he fucking lost. He lost multiple times.
I'm about to say redemption of the week is Drew McIntyre.
On top of that, he just signed a new contract and he lost twice after.
He got shot. I mean, if we're doing outside the wrestling world, yeah, Obi had the worst week too.
That was a bad promo. That was not a
no, and not Oba. OB from Power Book 2 Ghost. R.I.P.
My bad. I mean, that promo he cut though, that was very questionable. That was very no Diddy like promo.
Where he dominated 2 men. Oh, that one.
Yo, I hear the crowd said "Ayo."
But yeah, my matches of the week. I'm not gonna go full 10, but I will give you 8, I think.
8.
I'm gonna go number 8, Lee Johnson and Kyle Fletcher from ROH. That was just a great match. Go out of your way to see that one. An absolute banger. Number 7, the All-Star 8-man tag. That was just so much fun on Dynamite. Number 6, Pac and Claudio Castagnoli from Dynamite. Number 5, Chad Gable versus Sami Zayn from Clash at the Castle. Number 4, Bullet Club War Dogs versus TMDK from NJPW Soul. Number 3, Hanare versus Shingo from NJPW Soul. Number 2, AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes, the I Quit matchup. And number 1 for me, Kaito Kiyomiya versus Gabe Kidd from Noah's Grand Chip. That was Gabe Kidd's like breakout performance in the main event, biggest match of his career, and he showed the fuck out.
I heard
Krssi
he was at the AEW taping. Is that true?
Yes, he was. He was indeed. We'll talk about him next week because that was taped, I believe, for next Friday's Rampage. Krssi Love, your matches of the week.
My matches, I have 3 because I didn't watch. I saw a lot of highlights and everything, so I didn't get to watch everything right away. But I'm going to go 3 for you guys. Number 3, the I Quit match with AJ and Cody. Number 2 will be Priest and McIntyre, and then 3, I'm going to get. Oh wait, no, I did it backwards. Sorry. 1, 1 would be Claudio Castagnoli and
Pac.
The Pac. Yes. Thank you.
Josh, your matches of the week.
Let me see. Number 3, I'm gonna pick. Number 3, I'm gonna go with. It's a good one. Gable versus Sami Zayn. I thought that was a really good match. From Clash of the Castle. Number 2, I'll go with the I Quit match. Cody versus AJ, and then number 1, Castagnoli versus Pac. I thought that was a banger of a match.
That's like pay-per-view quality.
Yeah, that was a good way to start the Owen for sure. But that brings us to a close on another edition of the Flagship Podcast. We had a lot to cover news-wise, wrestling-wise from this week. What a week in professional wrestling all across the board. We didn't talk about stuff that happened last night, like CMLL had a show with Mercedes Moné showing up to set up her matchup with Stephanie Becker. We didn't talk about, this morning they had blood sports with John Moxley versus Josh Barnett. Maybe we'll talk about that stuff next week, but it's a very exciting time for professional wrestling across the board, despite what the TV ratings say. Krssi Love, the floor is yours. Let everybody know where they can follow you, where they can see all your great work here, Body Slam, and when they'll see you again.
Yes, guys. Oh yeah, honorable mention of Deonna Purrazzo and Thunder Rosa. That match that was good too. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll pick 4. Anywho, hey guys. So you can follow me. See me every Friday, bodyslam.net. Where we do the SmackDown review of Know Your Role. Be there. You can go and watch that review with myself and Astrid. She had to fill in for Stephanie yesterday. Last minute, she did the hot tag, so I really appreciate her. And I had to apologize because I kept saying her name wrong. But anywho, because I was a little drunk. But those things happen. But anywho, yes. Other than that, you can follow me here on the Twitter, which is Tru Heel Krssi Love. Join SP and myself as we will do the Power review. We're gonna do it on Monday. I'm free Monday, SB, if you want to still do it on Monday. So we can do Monday. So we join us. We did episode 2 last week, so that's up there. Watch it. It was great, and now I can't wait to do episode 3. We have a lot to cover, so join myself and SP for that for Monday. Other than that, it's Tru Heel Krssi Love _1, and then join us here every Saturday for Tru Heel Heat. Thanks.
Indeed. And Josh, you do work across the board, artwork, and here. We appreciate you here, but let everybody know where they can follow you and when they'll see you again.
You can follow me at jmpunk321, Twitter and Instagram, mostly Instagram. I won't be on next Saturday. I'll be at a convention. I'm not selling work, but I'll be meeting a few people. So that should be a fun event. They told me they're announcing 2 wrestlers, so I wonder who they're gonna announce for that. So I'll be busy next weekend because I'll also be at Forbidden Door in person with Wendy. So that's gonna be a fun show. Yeah, and then I'll be on for Elite Heat, the go home show for Forbidden Door on Wednesday. And we're closer to 100 episodes. I think this will be episode 98. So got 2 more to 100.
Boom. There we go. And we're closing in on 300 episodes of the flagship. We're going to hit that this year. We also got our, 7-year anniversary coming up in August. So a lot of stuff to be looking forward to. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at Tru Heel SP3. Check out a bunch of content I did outside of this channel this week. Check out the Wrestling's podcast with myself and the fellas over there. I was in their studio on Wednesday. That dropped yesterday. Go over and check it out. Bring up those views numbers and show your support to me over there. Also, you can check out Sportskeeda Wrestling with the Smack Talk review with Dutch Mantel and Rick Ucchino. I was on the Fightful main channel with the ROH review with Astrid, reviewing that great episode of Ring of Honor TV this week. So check out all that great stuff. Check out all the great content we got on the channel. Follow us on the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at Tru Heel Heat. And the best place to support us when we are not live here, patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. I just did our Despy Invitational review. We got some Ring of Honor reviews coming up very soon as well. So check out all that great content. Thank you so much to Krssi Love. Thank you so much to Josh. Thank you so much to our producer, Baby Seth, and to all of you who joined us live, interacting in the live chat and with those super chat donations. We always appreciate y'all, and we will see you next Saturday, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat, singing, sinking, Samoans, and sickos. We are signing off until next time.
Laters.